I've pulled up the comment section basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've done. We can rock
I'm
through
sure
those.
questions will naturally filter in anyway.
Yeah.
So even if we run out, we'll have plenty of things to chat about.
I haven't really taken much notice of these. I just, whenever I saw a comment, I liked it just to recognise that we were going to answer it.
Yeah. There was nothing. They're all pretty good.
Okay.
A lot of Pokemon ones, unfortunately.
Oh wait, where's the chat box going to be? I can fix this. Hold on. Ah, I'm in recording and not streaming. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna have to. Okay. What's the best way for me to do this? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I've completely scuffed it, but I think it's fixable. I think this is fixable. Just give me a minute. I need to get Jack in here. How's it going, Shay?
Oh, are we live?
Yeah, I just had you in the wrong place. All right, we'll just go on tops and tails.
There I am. Haha. Can't remember the last time I was on Twitch.
I guess we can probably go in a corner each. That should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Catch this though.
That'll be fine.
It's the event of the year.
It's a huge event, boys and girls. Hope you're good. I mean, you've probably had the answers to most of these questions already, Shay.
Yeah.
Oh well. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. Have you been doing anything particularly Christmassy, Jack? You've wrapped your presents?
No, I did a bit of wrapping today. It's just off screen, but I wrapped a present for Laura, and she's not going to be impressed with the wrapping at all.
Well, we should be impressed with the present.
The present.
Okay,
that's the plan. But the wrapping, no.
Forget it. Forget that.
No. I might hire a professional wrapper next year. But yeah, other than that, nothing particularly Christmassy. Nothing major. That is one nice hoodie, Jack. If you're looking for last-minute Christmas presents, I'm sure Shay
stocking filler.
Hit you up. Stocking filler. Shay, you should do socks. Slowpoke socks.
Peepo arrive. How's it going, guys? Hope you're doing well. It's been a minute.
It's been a little
I hope
while.
you're good. We'll eventually be looking directly at the screen. I'm just making sure that OBS is all fine.
Stellowish Gaming, Scare, Peter, hello everyone. Brankus, hello.
Right.
Ah, Brankus. I wonder if you're the Brankus that I saw won a Hegster. Was it Hegster last night?
Yeah, I think it's the same. The very same Brankus.
Very same Brankus. Whatever tournament you won, Brankus, congratulations. I saw your list on Twitter today.
I don't have the proper things to show the people arrive thing, which makes me very sad because it's one of my favourite.
I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Thingamajigs. It's just the happy face Peepo that gets larger as it comes towards you, and there's the obvious Peepo leave, which is the angry face, and it's going smaller and further away from you.
Atlas, not Hegster. Fair. Either way, congratulations.
Right, should we start tucking into some of these?
Yeah.
BTTV. Yeah, we have a few BTTV ones, but I need to update them.
I think we get every so often our friend Tim is like, guys, BTTV have just rolled out like now you get 15 free emotes, and we're like, yeah, we'll do that, and we never do.
Yeah.
But maybe a New Year's resolution is we can sort some of this stuff out.
Yeah. All right. We may as well crack into it. So Blue Cheesecake has asked us 6 questions, so thank you very much. We'll start with, would you consider holding an event in the single prize standard metagame?
Interesting. So, I'm interested. I'm interested in this question simply because me and Blue Cheesecake have actually discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's wanting a bit of an update on where my head's at. I'm not ready to announce anything yet, but I am working on something to do with the single prize metagame. I can't promise anything anytime soon. I know there is a question later on about work outside of Pokemon, and I'll get into this more. But I start a new job in 2 weeks' time, and I don't know how intensive on my schedule it's going to be. So I think it will be pretty intensive for the first couple of months. So I don't want to make any announcements or commit to anything right here right now. But um, the amount of support and interest the single prize week had for the league was insane, and every single one of the content creators that I spoke to in the league loved it. All of the comments were really positive. Um, Joe's video on the initial metagame discussion was really positive, and just the playing the format, it felt maybe because we don't have IRL events at the moment. I don't have that feeling of okay, I've seen this deck won. I saw this deck win this week, so how do we counteract that next week? I don't really feel that with the kind of the Hegsters and stuff um, because I don't play them, but also because I think it's a thing that is way more taken into account in terms of IRL events. But for the single prize week, it really felt like we were going into a new format, which it was a completely new format, which was so exciting. But also we were looking at decks and then decks to counter decks and text for decks and things like that, and it felt like Pokemon of like 3 or 4 years ago again. And I haven't been as excited for Pokemon for a long time as I was for that single prize week, and I know from a lot of people, um, from a lot of the comments and stuff, there was a lot of positivity to it. So I don't want to announce anything now, but I hold out hope that there will be some kind of single prize thing coming, hopefully early next year. Whether it will be, I don't know how it's all going to be run yet. I'm still kind of working out how I can do it. I've spoken to Robin a little bit about it, but yeah, I'm not willing to commit to anything right now. But that like with the amount of support, I think it would be silly not to try and push for it, especially as it's a format that I think so many content creators would also really enjoy to get involved with.
Well,
So yeah,
yeah.
I'm hoping that there will be something, if not sorted by me. Hopefully, I can pass the mantle to someone else, pass what I've done to someone else, and they can sort it. Someone that has more time than me. But at the moment, yeah, I'm setting things into motion. Hopefully,
Well, what was really interesting, I don't know if you did the players questionnaire, Jack, from Pokemon,
I haven't yet. No,
but
I think there's a little while to do it still. But yeah, I haven't yet. I need to.
yeah, I think it's running throughout Jan, isn't it? Anyway,
Yeah, I think so.
but they quoted this format, which is entirely one prize Pokemon, and they gave it the
Okay.
air quotes of the evolution format as like a placeholder name, where it's
Okay.
only single prize Pokemon. I thought that was
Mhm.
just like, wow, they're actually thinking of making that a game mode in PTCGO potentially. Like, just the fact that that's a question in their minds is awesome, right?
Acknowledgement is honestly fantastic. That they hopefully that means they recognize that it is something that we would like to see,
Yeah,
and hopefully
that
they
feels like
will.
a really good casual tabletop, like Friday Night Magic type format for me.
I
You
think
know?
that's the thing. There is no way, like, it's. I think it's the perfect format for online tournaments. I think it's the perfect format for online tournaments. I don't ever see it being a majors format. I don't ever see it
No.
being anything like that because I don't. I think it never will be because it doesn't promote them selling cards. But I think it's a really really good online format, and yeah, like you say, Friday Night Magic casuals tournament format, and putting that like I'm surprised a lot of leagues don't already do something like this. But yeah, it would be really interesting if Pokemon themselves gave it a bit of a push externally of saying, look, we're not going to have real events for this, but we're going to throw a ladder on there because I think that would be really, really good for the growth of PTCGO as well.
True.
So
Uh,
yeah,
Stellarish Gaming, you can. We'll take answers from Twitch after we've gone through the ones that we've already got from the YouTube, or you can comment on YouTube and we'll just refresh, whichever you prefer. And how's it going, Tim? All right, question 2. How rejuvenation do you think these single and rapid strike cards will be to the metagame? Or how rejuvenating? Or do you think they'll be the next oppressive decks?
we okay. So this is going to be interesting actually because me and Joe haven't spoken about the new mechanic. I've been super disconnected from Pokemon for a couple of weeks. I've been keeping up with the news, but I actually haven't spoken to Joe about them. So this will be really interesting. The mechanics themselves, I'm really impressed with actually. I wasn't expecting much, and the whole V Union thing was a bit scary. But again, thanks to the sub Doomsday.
Cheers,
Um,
Doomsday.
the V Union thing, I think kind of clouded a lot of people's judgment, and then they released this different mechanic, and I think both of these mechanics look, or this mechanic in general looks really exciting. It looks very different in terms of deck building, which I think is something that's fantastic. I think that is honestly what I'm most excited about, is the fact that we maybe don't just have Research, Marnie, and Boss in decks anymore. We maybe have this Archie Maxi thing. Maybe we'll see more supporters that, particularly benefit, like tutoring single prize card, single prize or single strike or rapid strike cards out, that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of potential in the mechanic. I'm almost certain there will at some point be cards that are released that make tier 1 decks, because that's how Pokemon make their money, but that doesn't scare me really. Every set, or not every set, but the majority of, like 80% of sets we see, there is a new best deck in format or a new tier 1 deck, and that doesn't particularly bother me. So I'm not worried about them being oppressive, especially as we haven't seen everything yet. I'm just really excited that it's something different, honestly. I'm pretty hopeful that I've seen Doomsday just put his Double Crisis Mark II. It is Double Crisis Mark II, but it seems like they're supporting it way more, which is also really good. It seems like it's going to be a multi-set thing. There's going to be
Well, Double Crisis was 25 cards, and
yeah, it was a
they've
mini
announced
set.
60 cards already within the
Yeah,
first
exactly.
set for these cards already. So
And I think we will see. I think it will be the mechanic all year next year. I think it will be 4 sets worth of
just
mechanic.
ongoing.
So
Okay.
um, and so because of that, I have very high hopes that they will. Because the other thing you have to factor in is that eventually this stuff will be in a format without tag teams. So even if immediately they won't overtake tag teams, which there is the potential that they won't, because the tag team mechanic is so good that it could still happen. We're going to have at least 2 years with these cards where there won't be tag teams, and I think they already seem um, not overly not mind-boggling power level. They will get there because that's how cards are released. But I'm really interested in the mechanics behind them. Things like the Houndoom attaching energy, the Octillery tutoring out cards. These stage 1 Pokemon that actually you want in play is just already very exciting, and it's something that we've asked for. Oh, it's not stage 2s, great, and some people really want stage 2s, but any kind of evolution I think is great. That's evolving your bench, stuff like that. For tutoring, I'm really happy to. I think I've been impressed with almost all of the cards so far. There's been a couple of not great ones, sure, but there always will be. And there's been nothing that I've looked at and thought, wow, that's amazing. But there will be. But I'm super happy with at least the initial impression of the mechanic and where it's going. And things like Octillery and Houndoom that will be potentially engines in decks is always, I think, very exciting. That isn't anything that isn't just for research, for Marnie, for boss as an engine. I'm pretty excited for.
Yeah, I agree. I think they look really cool. I think I want them to be like what you said, where it's sort of like Plasma, where you get this initial wave and then you get a few extra cards throughout the year that makes them different or stronger or new build arounds, which is going to be really cool. I think Rapid Strike Urshivu VMAX looks incredible. The one that can do the 180 if it comes from bench that turn for 1, and then the 220 snipes. That just seems really good.
Mm-hmm.
For the mustard guys, I think the new Archies and Maxis, there are plenty of combo items that we currently have in the format that makes it actually probably quite possible to try and make it, come off. We haven't seen any cards that I think I want to use mustard on yet, though, because
No.
VMAXs aren't that hard to get into play. The stage 1s aren't that hard to get into play. Enough to warp your deck around and choose to always go second every game to try and turn 1 mustard. But maybe there will be some stage 2s better than the the Embor that we've
You're
seen.
going to say we've only seen Embor right so
Yeah,
far.
something better than Embor that makes me actually want to mustard on one. A
Mm.
new Archie Stoy style approach. That'll be interesting because we have like Judge Whistle Rotom Phone combo. We have Poker Gears. We have like Rose Tower. So we have Quick Balls obviously and tons of insta playable cards. So you can actually go quite up and down with your hand if you want to. So that would be cool to see if it's actually worth making a mustard deck of some sort.
I really liked Maxi and Archie, the design of Maxi and Archie as well. I
Mhm.
liked because it, like you say, you had to warp your deck around it. A lot of Maxi and Archie decks, well, Archie decks definitely, but even YZG played not just like a significant package of cards to try and get a turn 2 Maxi Gallade out, even a turn 1 back in the day, Maxi Gallade out. So it completely shifted the way decks were built. So yeah, it's going to
Mhm.
completely depend on whether we see strong cut. Like the reason why Maxi was built was because Maxi was played was because Premonition was so good and it also had a decent attack. Now the Embor is just plus 30 damage and you're never going to use his attack. But if we ever see a single strike or a rapid strike card that has a strong ability like Premonition or something with a half decent attack, I think
Mhm.
there's
It only
really
takes
really
one of
strong
those
chances.
cards. Yeah, yeah. It only
Yeah.
takes one of those cards being enough to be worth building around. So yeah.
Mm.
Um, all right. So yeah, we're both pretty positive on single and rapid. There's throwbacks to Double Crisis. There's throwbacks to Team Aqua versus Magma, the original EX set, which ended up winning Worlds. Magma's Groudon, and there's throwbacks to Plasma. So lots of cool stuff going on there.
Yeah.
How long do you think it would be until single prize Pokemon make a return to top tables?
Um. I think potentially this single strike and rapid strike stuff has if the engine is good enough, there's no reason why it may not happen. I think the gatekeeper will still be ADP, and I almost certainly well, I don't almost certainly think, but I think it's going to be a strong possibility that we don't see much happen until we see rotation next year. If we have a rotation, ADP is kind of gatekeeping it at the moment, but I think when we see ADP rotate, there's no reason that they can't. I think single prizes probably could square up to a lot of the VMAXs because they trade 3 for 3. It's just about whether you can keep consistency in terms of setting up 3 Pokemon whilst obviously your opponent only has to set up 1 VMAX. So as long as there is continual support for single prizes, I think as soon as ADP goes, there's no reason that we can't see some good single prize decks again. But I think that's kind of the gatekeeper still at the moment.
Yeah, I would actually lump Marnie in there as well, right on with
Yeah.
ADP, to be honest, because like if you're forced to go first, you get to play like one Great Ball if you're lucky, get 2 Pokemon down, and then you're getting instantly smacked with a Marnie, and you're getting aggroed down still. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of worry for just. I mean, I'm thinking about evolution decks, and I think it's going to be hard to see things like Baby Blown being reincarnated in different ways. I'd like to see something like Ultra Beasts where they have like a different type coverage kind of toolbox of one prize Pokemon going on that have
Mm-hmm.
different power spike turns. That was a cool mechanic, I think, and worked well for the one prize stuff. But I think I can't. I mean, I definitely can't see an evolution single prize deck doing well while Marnie's still doing amazingly well while there's still Marnie in the format, unless it's a control based single prize deck. To be
Yeah.
honest, do you think there'll be a Worlds 2021? I don't think there will be in person, at least, and I
No,
would
I
be
don't.
amazed if it was online as well. I mean, I think the Players' Cup is satisfactory right now, and I think more people would be annoyed to see an online Worlds 21 instead. So I think my answer would be most likely right now, probably not.
I think yeah. I think no, and I think uh, they may push for like an unofficial, not an unofficial Worlds, but like an official tournament other than Worlds around August next year. I think this is what they're building up to with all of these Players Cups. Uh, but I don't think I don't think we'll see IRL events back until at least like I think at earliest it could be like the start of when the season would start in September next year. But I think even that may be a stretch. I don't know, but even that may
Like
be a stretch.
international scale, you mean? Like large events?
Uh,
or just grassroots, or
Even
both? Do you
that
think
that
they'll
is
just open it all up together?
I don't. This is the thing. They mentioned something in one of their posts about how they're looking at starting to open up events on like a place by place basis, but I don't see how ever place by place basis can really work because people would just travel because people miss events so much. People like they have
Yeah.
they run the risk of people traveling, which isn't just completely counterintuitive. So I mean, maybe they will open them up like country by country and say that people can't enter. Maybe they'll like region lock by country. I don't know, but yeah, I have no idea about the logistics. I can't see how it can work
No.
worldwide. I can't see how it would work not being worldwide without them putting some kind of uh, lock on where people can travel to, just to be kind of doing the sensible thing of
Yeah.
not promoting traveling that much. So yeah, I can't see anything before September. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've got like Players Cup stuff announced all the way through until May, right?
Yes,
I think I think
the global finals would probably be around May time, right? You'd think.
yeah. So I don't think so.
All right. Question 5. Pokemon recently released a survey that was used for players to comment on the game. Do you think that there's a chance they will listen to this and Sword and Shield will be the last three prize block? But
Um.
I mean, do we even know when there's going to be another game? Because they
So
coincide with games, right? And
yeah. So
25th
there should
is there going to
be.
be a 25th anniversary game, or is it the year after?
So
I
what I
don't.
expect next year is I've heard I don't know whether this is true, but I think Switch is getting a port of the first three gens, not remakes, just remasters of the first three gens onto Switch because there's currently no way of playing virtual old games on Switch. I don't
Okay.
believe. So I think for 25th anniversary they're releasing those three, and potentially I would be amazed if this actually happened, but I would maybe expect like a random Gen 4 remake announcement, but I don't think it will happen. Um, and then 2022 is when we should see Gen 9 based on their past timeline. So I think that's why I think next year or in like a couple of months' time, we'll see um, remakes of or remasters of the first three gens on Switch. From what I've heard, that's what's going to happen, which will tide us over for a year. At which they'll announce Gen 9 like they did in February for Gen 8, and that will come out that November. So I think we'll have around 8 or 9 more Sword and Shield sets, and then we'll go into Gen 9. Um, so basically, yeah, so basically the start of 2022, no, the start of 2023 would be our first Sword and Shield set. So our first Gen 9 set,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Um, do I think it will be a 3 prize set? I think it's impossible to say. Um, I think it won't be a 1 prize set. I will say that. I don't think we'll ever go back to not having some kind of multiple prize Pokemon. Um, but I don't think that necessarily means we will have 3 prize Pokemon. Um, my I mean, it's impossible to say. The the only thing that makes me think we could keep it is the fact that we kept Megas for 2 games. We had Megas for X and Y, and wait, no, did we? Yeah, we did. We had Megas at the end of. Wait, no, did we?
Megas ended with evolutions, right?
Megas ended with Evolutions. Yeah. Okay, no, scratch that. So yeah, I think there's a real possibility we don't get 3 prizes in Gen 9, but I don't think there's any possibility we won't get 2 prizes. I will say that.
Yeah. The only thing for me is like if they stop three prizes, it just means at that point the two prizes need to be like so power crept that they make the three prizes useless anyway. Like it's always going to be power creep is unfortunately the only answer. Like either everything has to have a Zamazenta ability and just be naturally strong enough anyway,
Hmm.
and then people will still play some three prize decks because they still think they have some decent matchups, or they need to make 1 and 2 prize Pokemon more broken. So That's
I
unfortunately
think
the answer. I
yeah.
mean, the thing about the three prize thing is like it's so correct to put a little bit of investment into just one Pokemon that does so much stuff. So like I don't think the fact that like are people annoyed that it's like half the game committed to like one Pokemon, or are people annoyed at like the power creep side? I don't know what people are actually annoyed about with three prizes.
Um,
Like are they annoyed that the game could be over in 3 turns? Or
I
like
think
in
it's a bit of
theory you
both.
could lose in 2 turns,
I
right?
think people would say a bit of both, but I think the bit of both fundamental. I think the power creep kind of leads into the three turns thing.
People are more sad
Um,
about the half the game thing. Okay.
yeah. So I think
Because if it's a power creep thing, there's never ever going to be a solution, and like unless they do a factory reset, which I think is like never going to happen.
we're too far. I think we had to do a factory reset last year because tag teams are so good it didn't matter whether they were just good, because we've seen it doesn't matter whether they're just good because they're still just good. Like it doesn't. The past four sets, yes, are have been great, but have been largely
Like that's the thing. People complain about the amount of power creep, but still these basic three
that.
prizes have
Yeah,
been more broken.
I think
So either you get
people
more power creep complaints.
I think people will realize, or I hope. I don't know. I don't know how this will, whether this will happen. We still have a year's worth of cards to release, obviously. But I think people will hopefully prefer the game when the three prizes are evolutions rather than basics, because yes, you're still knocking out one Pokemon and taking half the game, but there's at least a level of um, it can't happen turn one, and there's investment into them and stuff like that. Whereas at the moment, because it's basics, you start with your big chunky basic and you don't do anything. So I do think things will improve when tag teams rotate. I don't think things will be great because it's still three prizes that you knock one out and you're halfway through the game. That's just not great in general. But I think the fact that there's going to be more counterplay of like whether you evolve them, or like we also need to see better V Pokemon as well, so that you don't you're not forced to evolve your VMAXs, because at the like no one cares about Eternatus, they only care about Eternatus VMAX. No one cares about Dragapult, they only care about Dragapult VMAX. If we had a Dragapult and an Eternatus that maybe even meant you only had to run two of the VMAX, they were just a different style of attack. It would that even that would help things, because it would mean if you didn't evolve your VMAX because you didn't want to lose in 3 turns, where you weren't doing nothing because the Pokemon you were actually evolving was completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't. I Going back to the question, I don't think the. I don't think it's the power creep. I think the issue is more the 3 turn thing than the power creep. I don't
Yeah.
care if stuff gets power crept as long as everything gets power crept evenly. If I don't care that if HPs get bigger, if attacks get bigger with HP, what I care about is not like knocking something out and then knocking something out and winning the game. I don't. If stuff has more HP but stuff's doing more damage, it kind of is irrelevant in my mind, because
Yeah.
the numbers on the card don't really matter. It's
Yeah.
just whether it has 0 HP or some HP.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's weird for me? So I actually really like three prize Pokemon. I think it speeds up the game where when we're playing 60-minute best of or 50-minute best of three, you actually have a chance to lose game one and still win 2 games, which is excellent. So you don't just lose to one brick and die.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, big bulky basics that you can commit into allow both players to play the game most consistently. So when there were previous formats where it's like, I missed my candy, I drew this but not my evolution, and like you said, like with VMAXs right now, it's the difference between like
Hmm.
literally 270 or like a 30 and a pass. Like that's the difference
Yeah.
with the Eternatus right now, and that sucks. That feels terrible. So
Hmm.
like that really just that's what I absolutely hate. I want everyone to be able to execute their strategy, and unfortunately, the best way to do that is by having basics, because then everyone gets to commit more space to consistency. So
Yeah.
I actually think
Makes sense.
I think people are just like looking back to past times for different reasons, but there's a lot to like about multiple prize Pokemon for the speed of games that you can actually think and play. And I actually think this is a big thing that makes it still hopefully appealing to kids, is that attention spans aren't 45 minutes for kids. Like they're 45 minutes for adults, and only about half the adults. Most of us have ADHD, and we flick with our cards every time we're playing in person, right? Because we get bored during our opponent's 3-minute turn. So it's like, I like the gameplay being like, you can just bash out 15-20 minute games like quite easily. So I actually think it's amazing that we have multiple prize Pokemon. I think it's really improved the game massively. So I'll take the heat, but I actually think people are complaining for all the wrong reasons. And if they actually think it through about how things used to be, like there was like 40-minute best of ones that weren't finished in like so many formats. Like look at SP format, like everyone's like heralded format, and it's like Dialgachomp mirrors would go to time, you know? like,
So
like,
yeah,
like
so
come on.
obviously there is obviously this can never happen. This isn't practical. But if the timer didn't exist, if events could be as long as they needed to be, if every game, and you also kind of have to ignore control a little bit, which means like again, it's all very hypothetical.
Yeah.
But if time was not a factor, do you think you would prefer? Obviously, you're still saying you would prefer basic formats to evolution formats, but would you prefer games that you have to take 6 prizes rather than you have to take
It's hard to say.
essentially 6 knockouts rather than 2 knockouts?
It's all about the comeback mechanics at that point, how many archetypes and how many different ways you can take comeback prizes or multiple knockouts in a turn, and how many strategies are there, because it doesn't matter if it's like a 1 prize deck versus a 1 prize deck or a 3 versus a 3. If someone gets the first hit, they're going to win the 1-by-1 anyway, right? So it's like, it's the same, but it's less feels bad because you're not playing 6 turns knowing that you've already lost 4 turns ago because they took the first kill. So it's like basically the same. It's actually more about the comeback mechanics and how good they are. Not only is like, this is why N is actually the best. Like everyone creams over N, but it's actually insane because it's like, it was the perfect card in the early turns, so it wasn't dead weight like Reset Stamp is, and which is why I hate Reset Stamp. And it's literally just like it's great in the opening, so you're literally always happy to see N unless you're ahead already, which is like the perfect way to play the card, right? So yeah, if you're playing 1 prize formats, I think there would have to be N and probably, you know, like sniping approaches and all sorts of other ways to take cheeky knockouts here and there to catch up, or Fating Spell Gengar, you know, random nonsense like that can make you come back into a lead. So yeah, I don't get the heat of multiple prize Pokemon. I think it makes a tournament actually run properly within 2 days, which is cool. All right, number 6. Do you think Pokemon will ever go back to single prize format like the Diamond and Pearl series sets? So maybe an alternate format, but probably never. Standard is always going to be king, and they always want to sell products, and that's going to be.
We haven't had a mechanic, or we have had a mechanics. We haven't had a series of cards that hasn't had 2 prizes for I think 13 years.
Yeah.
We haven't had. I think it's 13 or 10 years or something.
Hey, Blue Cheesecake.
So.
Thanks for the questions.
I don't think we're going. I think it's here to stay. And I think they will continue to release good multiple prizes because, like Joe says, they want to sell product. That doesn't mean we won't ever see single prize decks come back, because, you know, Baby Blounds was one of the best single prizes we've ever seen, and that's obviously been a very good deck. So there's always going to be the floor open to them to print very good 1 prizes, but I don't think we will ever see a format in which there are so many good 1 prizes that it's not worth running the 2 prizes because they want to sell the 2 prizes.
Yeah, there's always going to be the caveat that they'll be squishier and that you're having to invest turn by turn by turn. That's like that's always going to be the issue of a single prize deck. It's going to be just more work than the multiple prize Pokemon because they're built to last, right? They're just bigger. So yeah. What was I going to say? I was actually going to say one more thing on the multiple prize situation. Oh yeah, one other thing about bad thing about 3 prize Pokemon and 2 prize Pokemon and the bigger and the stronger and stuff. It's like the gap between doing what you want to do and missing gets so much larger that it creates more of a feels bad as things get bigger and bigger. So as power creep increases, like specifically for like missing your ball search out or missing your energy drop, those things become incredibly different, right? It's because attacks is so good now. So it just power creep unfortunately makes that gap widen, and I think people are confusing the power creep for just the amount of prizes that they give up. That's my personal opinion. All right, Pan23. What are some cards that you would like to see come back to the TCG? They can be competitive or just funny cards with a little snowman.
We've just said about
Excuse
N,
me.
and I
I need
think
to cough.
N is one of the biggest ones for both of us. I would actually be. I think again, I think the format is kind of too quick for it at the moment. But stuff like, well, I'm super happy that we're seeing Maxi and Archie back. They are both fun and potentially competitive, which is great. That's like the perfect card. It's a card that we can hopefully build decks around. But on top of that, it's it's a cool effect. You get to get a Pokemon that you want. You get to play some of these random stage 2 Pokemon without having to go through the 2 turns of finding candy, missing candy, oh dear I lost, that kind of stuff. Yes, you have to jump through the hoops of getting mustard, but instead, but like if you build your deck around that, that's fine. And on top of that, you potentially some cool effect. Like Premonition Gallade is one of the coolest cards ever. It's great. It's a really, really cool card, and it saw a lot of play anyway because there was a couple of good Guardies whilst it was about, but it saw a whole heap load more play than it ever would have because Maxis existed. And that's really, really good card design in my mind. So I hadn't ever thought of it, and I didn't ever think we'd see cards like Archie and Maxis again, but I'm super happy that those are coming back, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think for me, it's just more trainer consistency cards are required in the game because going first is becoming a disadvantage in a lot of decks, and I'd like it to be more than just be like, I really hit, I hope, Quick Ball or Cherish Ball, otherwise I lose. I'd like to see more Trainers Mails, Acrobikes, those sorts of cards.
Yeah, Acrobike sticks out to me.
Some similar effects. Like we've got the Jirachi, and we're going to get the new. Is it like a Celebi and a Manaphy? I think it's those guys. Cards like that are definitely ones that I'd like to see, or even like old Jirachi that's just pick anything over the top 5. Like it's actually at that point where Stellar Wish is becoming less good, or just reprint a skateboard.
I guess seeing a skateboarder game would be crazy good. I'd love to see a skateboarder game.
Yeah. I think a skateboard's fine in a scrapper format, to be honest. I think that's absolutely... And there's enough drawbacks to a 70 point Pokemon anyway.
There's enough. I was going to say there's enough drawbacks, and also I think engines like Jirachi are good engines to promote anyway. So yeah. I don't even think it's like, oh god, every deck is running a Jirachi engine. Well, okay, that means every deck is more consistent. Great.
Yeah. Cool. Right, Zapdos TCG, how's it going? Merry Christmas, and to you. He's got multiple questions? Oh, I can only see one. Wait, what? Okay. Anyway, how do you feel about the current meta filled with 3 prize Pokemon where the game ends in just 4 turns most of the time? Okay.
Kind of addressed this, but I guess we haven't. I guess we addressed the 3 prize issue.
Well, I had my rant, but you go. The
meta in general, I've been super disconnected from Pokemon for a little while now. I haven't enjoyed the meta too much. I don't think it's anything outside of not having events, honestly. I actually don't think... I don't know whether the meta's that bad, because I haven't been playing, in all honesty. I've not been too enthused by anything outside of playing for the league. I haven't been interested in playing any of the online tournaments for a little while. Maybe with Rapid Strike, Battle Stars, I think the set's called, that will come back. I hope so. It's difficult to say right now, but the thing that put me off with Vivid Voltage is, yes, there were some changes, but the set was really, really underpowered, I think, in comparison to the tag team sets. I think there could be a couple of cards that really, after rotation, really come out of the woodwork, and we find out that they're pretty good. But I think at the moment there was, like, there was a lot of cards that just were interesting, but nothing more than interesting. And the meta, in my mind, didn't really change too much. Arguably, you can say, well, ADP has been good ever since it was released last year, but like things like ADP have changed like every few sets. There was ADP with Keldeo to start with, then Zacian came out, and then Boss came out, and ever since Boss came out, the deck hasn't changed basically. um, and I think that's almost. I think Darkness Ablaze is basically like Vivid Voltage is basically like Darkness Ablaze 2.0. In terms of format, I don't think there's much. I don't think much has been changed, and as such, I don't think there's much that's been left undiscovered. I think the Pika Mew deck that came out of the woodwork right at the end of like the Darkness Ablaze meta, that is still good now. I think that will probably turn out to be one of the last major new decks that came out of this format. Things like Colossal and stuff haven't particularly shone bright or anything like that. Whimsicott was a real flash in the pan. It seemed really good, but I haven't seen results from it in a little while. So yeah, I was really disappointed with Vivid Voltage in general. We knew this set wasn't going to be great, but I think it was even less impactful than we thought. We at least thought like maybe Colossal could, you know, stand the test of time and beat a couple of these decks, but it turns out Pikarom is still like second best deck in format.
Yeah.
It doesn't care.
Colossal's like a top 10 deck, and even then it has to tech like Mimikyu to still beat Pikarom.
So yeah. So in terms of the meta, I've completely switched off of it. I see tweets day in day out about how people are disappointed with every deck playing 4 hammers and stuff like that. And if that's how the meta is, it's not a meta I'm particularly interested in playing.
That's the worst thing.
I'm still interested in playing the game, but right now I'm not interested in things like the Hexters or the Atlas tournaments, unfortunately, just because I don't like. It's more of an issue with PCGO than the game. But as such, I can't really. I feel kind of bad for complaining because I don't actually have a problem with the meta because I haven't played the meta. It's more I'm not that fussed about playing Pokemon at the moment because it just doesn't seem that impressive. Outside of not only outside of the game, but I guess the meta as well. I'm hoping Battle Styles changes things. It seems like already with like the 20 cards they've released, it's going to be more impactful than
Vivid, yeah.
Vivid, and it's going to, if not more impactful, it's at least going to promote different deck building, which is kind of, even if that only lasts a month, that's still. I feel like Vivid Voltage deck building didn't even last a month because everyone knew the set was super weak. So yeah, I'm not that bothered by the meta. ADP will always be good. I think Pikarom at this point has proved it will always be good. It probably took the hardest hit of rotation, and saw 2 decks that seemed to absolutely counter it, and it's still second best deck in format. So I didn't have a problem with Darkness Ablaze meta. I don't really have a problem with this meta. But I'm not particularly enthused to play it right now. So hopefully March changes things. February set looks like it won't change anything because there's going to be about 14 new cards that are all completely useless. So I think it will be March when we actually see an interesting change. And based on the small amount of cards we've seen so far, hopefully that it will be a great change because it looks like some of these decks can potentially stand up to some of the decks right now, and without a doubt, decks are going to be built different. Those decks are going to be built differently, and that's enough. For every set we get Rusted Sword, yeah, but ADP is already the best deck in format. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah. So yeah, the 3 prize thing isn't what I dislike about the meta. It's crushing hammers that I dislike about the meta. And again, it's the point of power creep. It's like a head flip now is the difference between taking like literally 270 damage or more, or like it's literally buying an entire turn on just hitting a heads. And when, as Zapdos outlines, games can be 4 turns if someone's main strategy goes correctly, that buying 1 turn is such a huge deal. So Crushing Hammer is the scapegoat for this power creep, unfortunately. So they have to be extremely careful with disruption when cards are this strong. You need to let everyone do their own game plan. I think that's like either Okay, so yeah, you literally just have to let. Basically, disruption has to not be an early game presence at all. It has to be exactly at this point in the game. Like, there should be an ability that's like, if your opponent has taken this many prize cards, or if there's this amount of Pokemon in play, or this, that, and the other, that's when you can start attacking them and making them have outs and stuff like that. You can't lay a glove on people until like turn 2 to actually make the game with this amount of power creep good. That's actually why ADP is like kind of one of the more fun decks to play against, because they don't actually lay a glove on you for 2 turns and then they go off and then everyone complains because they got bossed. But like, that's because, well, probably because of Crushing Hammer stopping you attacking them in the first place and not taking tempo attacks on them. But there's tons of ways around it, but sure. All right. Dealwithit.com. Love the name. If that's my attitude right now. Thoughts on the new single strike and rapid strike Pokemon? Will there be a VOD uploaded to YouTube? We're not going to do it on the current cards that are out. We'll do it when the full cards are out, and we'll do the normal first impressions. Because there's 60 total rapid and single strike Pokemon that we're getting. So hopefully an even 30 and 30 of each, which is a pretty good core amount of cards, I think, to hopefully have more than just the 2 Urshifus to play around and build around. I'm hoping that the Empoleon gets a VMAX. I'm hoping that Tyranitar gets a VMAX. I think Tyranitar certainly could, because that looks like a stepping stone Pokemon. It looks like it's just like 2 vanilla text attacks. So I'm hoping there's more to that guy. And people love Tyranitar, right? So I'd love to see a VMAX for it.
Definitely. I'm also hoping. I don't know whether. I don't think we've seen any evolutions yet, but I'm hoping stuff like the Emboar. I'm hoping Tepig and Pignite don't count as single prize Pokemon, single strike Pokemon or whatever, so they don't eat into the. I guess I don't know whether I want them to. If they do, it makes them more consistent, because you have they get a free consistency package to find them. But if they don't, that means we actually get more cards that do things, because we already know the Tepig and the Pignite are going to do nothing.
Unless the Tepig somehow has a search option,
Well, that's the thing. Hopefully, we get the best of both worlds, where yes, they're taken into that 60 card count, but also they're not, complete filler where it doesn't matter that what they do or not. That's another thing that needs to be pushed for single prizes and evolutions to ever be good. You need to have not completely irrelevant basics and stage ones. Like they are. There is no point in playing them other than a stepping stone. And as soon as there is, giving them, giving us a reason to play them, or giving them something to do other than just evolve into what we need to do, what we want later on, means that, if you don't draw well, you can at least do something. Whereas right now, if you don't draw well, you're stuck with a Tepig that does 10 and that has 70 HP that just dies.
Yeah, the only thing they've done is they've blocked themselves creatively by printing Scoop Up Net. So none of these cards can have coming into play effects. Basically, they need to have things like Mareep, where they're in the active position, do this kind of effect. But then they're just all Stellar Wishes, and they'll be played in the broken basic decks. So they have to have specific abilities that help evolutions on the babies. That's how it has to be. So they have to be super specific. It has to be a Tepig that has a hog roast ability that just lets you find an Emboar immediately.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So you have to be super duper careful, because they've printed Scoop Up Net, and because if it's a good enough basic to play in other decks, it'll just be the basic and everyone ignores the evolutions anyway. But yeah, we'll do a VOD when we have a better idea of what's going on. All right, Wizards of the Coast Fetish has 7 questions for us. What's the most hated deck to play against? So in Standard, and I guess ever, I guess.
Standard at the moment. There's nothing I really dislike playing in Standard at the moment. If it's got Crushing Hammers, I'm probably not going to like it. Outside of that, I don't like
every deck.
That's the thing. That's the thing. There's no archetypes that I'm like, oh god, it's this right now. It's just fine. Ever, it's probably Wallstall, because it felt like control that didn't have as many decisions. And it was just a million HP, a max potion, a million HP, and it. I'm not gonna say control feels rewarding to lose against, but it doesn't feel like if your opponent has managed to uh control your deck when you're if you know you're playing optimally to try and stop them controlling your deck and your opponent's still done it, um I like that's fine in my mind. I don't more power to them. But Wallstall was just hammers and healing and hoping that they like Wallstall wasn't even. It was just crushing. It was the deck was for crushing hammers. That's all that deck was, and it was just delaying everything else until they recycled their four crushing hammers over and over again, or whatever kind of disruption they were running. The deck was nothing more than that. Whereas things like Pidgeotto control, they were controlling your top deck. They were controlling your hand. They were having to take risky decisions where they were like, well, I have to miss a chip on one of the next 3 turns. I have to work out on which turn I have to let them have a random top deck and that kind of thing. I have to stamp them at a certain time to try and draw them into 2 good cards because I know all of their cards in their hand are bad now. Things like that. Maybe that's because I enjoyed playing Control and I don't enjoy playing Wallstall. But I think
It's just
Control
all
is a
about
far more-
interaction, is what you're saying, right? It's like
yeah.
as
No,
long as you're making decisions and they're making decisions,
yeah.
it's at least a game. But if it's literally just
whereas-
like, ta-da! It's a hooper!
The-
4
the
more of
last-
those coming. Don't worry about that, mate.
Yeah, exactly. The last time, I don't think Wallstall has really been a major thing since like 2018, to be fair. But the last time I remember playing against Wallstall, it was like I think it was at Harrogate Regionals, and my opponent just turned over like Hooper Regigigas, and I also knew that there was no way I won this game.
Yeah.
Because I was playing some kind of Zoroark deck, so he had to find like 4 crushing hammers throughout the game, and he'd won. But if I'd seen like Pidgeotto, obviously Pidgeotto wasn't in the format at the time, but if I'd seen Pidgeottos, I could be like, right, okay, I need to target the Pidgeottos to disrupt their disrupt their sort of setup. I need to focus on their energy. I need to keep an eye on what kind of cards. I need to stamp them at a certain time to disrupt their combos.
Yeah.
Whereas Wallstall had none of that. It was just, I guess they had Steven's Resolve, but we also at the time had no real disruption, right? We had N, and because you always end them to a 6-card hand, it didn't matter. So yeah, I think Wallstall is one of the most frustrating archetypes, not because it was hard to beat or anything, just because it was uninteractive for both people. It wasn't fun to play against. It can't have been fun to play. I can't see how it can have been fun to play. Yeah, Pidgeotto, Zoro Control. I've played both of those at. I've never played Pidgeotto at a high level event, but I played Zoro Control at a special event. I did trash, but I enjoyed every single one of my games because I had to think about every single decision I made, and that matters way more to me than. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I think for me it's probably something like Wallstall. I also played Sylveon at a big event, and I enjoyed that event because I was able to think.
Yeah, and Sylveon never completely wrote off your opponent just because of something. It was there was constant pressure on both sides. So yeah, I think my answer is very similar for just hated, where it's literally just like a I've decided to play this and I've rolled into you. You seem to be playing one of the 2 best decks in the format, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm rubbing my hands and how great am I? I'll just draw the turn knowing I've won the game, and we're gonna sit here for an hour, and yeah,
That's the thing.
It's nonsense. It's
regional
like
played...
for me, I don't see how anyone finds that fun either. Like, yes, there's money on the line, but there's not enough money to actually care about, or not enough like prizing to actually care to like ruin yours and like 6 other people's days, and then still just like get like a 4-4 record because you're just literally not using your brain at all and just flipping over a card. Like, it just completely does my head in. So for my current deck, it would also be Desi Goons, and I think I still don't tech for it enough with enough decks, but in regionals and stuff over the last definitely last year, I was always making a tech for those kinds of decks because it actually just the face of a person that's just like literally just like, grow up, mate. I'm gonna beat you with 1 card tech. You've made my deck worse all day. I'm fuming, but at least I've got the win off this guy.
At least the saving grace of things like Desi Goons is you can disrupt them with Mane and stuff like that. Whereas when it was,
I mean, yeah, like you said, there's not much I dislike in this format either. So that's just my go-to thing that I
yeah,
hate. You know.
Desigoons still have to kind of jump through hoops a little bit because they still have to evolve. Whereas when it was like a Hooper and a Regigiga, so it was just like, well, okay, you had to find one of your basic Pokemon that you
Have to start
like
with.
that you have to start with to play the game. It's like they didn't even. I wouldn't. I would be pretty. I'd probably still be pretty annoyed about losing to a Decigoons at the moment, but I wouldn't be as annoyed because at least they've tried to build their deck to make it as optimal to get these awkward stage twos out in a format and using a mechanic that isn't great in a format where you're punished for playing stage twos. Well, at least they've tried. Whereas
Yeah.
flip over two Hoopers. Oh well,
Dun, dun, dun,
cool.
dun.
Da-da-da-da. We're probably upsetting people here, but I don't think.
I mean, I don't mind upsetting those people, so that's fine. Are you still active as a player online / events / when Corona is over?
I don't think either of us play any online events outside of League every week. I would love to. I would love to think I'll be still playing when the world is back to normal. I really hope I am. It will be external factors that stop me. I think. I would like. I would. I think at this, like, I've seen people complaining on Twitter about how bad they think this format is. That still be like, yeah, but I'd still play a tournament in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. I think the issues with the format have been exaggerated by the fact that we also can't see our friends at the moment.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and
the venting that you do in an event is just being done on Twitter instead now, right?
yeah, exactly.
Everyone has a 5-minute debrief after every round, even when you win the round.
Yeah, and you can't go and after the event go back and all have some food and have some drinks and just play Smash or whatever. At the moment we're sitting in the same chair that we're doing work in and getting high rolled on Pokemon. Whereas at least yes, arguably you spend hundreds of pounds to fly to somewhere to go 0-3 and drop in a regional, but you've done it with your mates. Whereas at the moment everything is so disconnected at the moment. It's not the same. So I think that's another reason why people are so angry about the format, but I can't see me not playing events when things come back. I really can't. But there's going to have been potentially like a 2-year break between me ever picking up cards.
Yeah,
And
weird.
maybe that would be enough time where I don't come back. I can't see it happening though. I think there's, and I'm hoping it's going to make for the fact that it's almost certainly going to be in London. World is almost certainly going to be in London. I'd like to think.
Well,
Makes me think I will
now we
play.
have Super Corona, so maybe not.
Well, now we have Super Corona, and obviously, I guess Pokemon probably did a deal to get the second year in London, because the first year was cancelled. But who knows how long the XL will honor that agreement?
Yeah, who knows?
Because there's so many external factors here. Like the company that runs the XL Center could also go into administration, and then the new company could not want to. There's so many factors that could mean we don't even have Worlds in London next time. Yeah, there's so much stuff.
It is what it is.
But yeah, I would like to think the first year that we have a World Championships, I will go, even if it's as a last hurrah. But I really don't think it will be a last hurrah, because I think the buzz of everything being back to normal will
carry for at least another year.
Yeah. I think it will far outweigh.
Yeah.
I think any format, how bad it is, it would far outweigh that, just because everything would be back to whatever normal is then. I think I don't see how it can't outweigh that, just because I miss going to league challenges and league cups. I miss going to pre-releases.
Yeah.
I just want to sit down opposite a human being and play Pokemon right now. I don't care where, when, just make it happen. So yeah, I can't see me not going back to events. But maybe we have Corona for 50 years and the games you take 6, there's ADP 2.0 and stuff like that. I don't know.
Lovely.
But
yeah. Yeah, I'm similar. I'll definitely go to events when I feel safe and the world feels safe enough to do so. Online events, I don't know why I still haven't dipped my toe in it. Maybe over this this short period off, I'll have more time to maybe jump into a couple. It's not like I don't have like a big reason to not. I enjoyed playing
One
the
of the,
Limitless qualifiers and stuff like that. So you
one of
know,
the biggest things I think for us is the fact that so many of them, like this isn't a criticism, but so many of them are run
it's just time zones, right?
by American people
Yeah,
that they start at like 11 p.m.
yeah,
Like one of the ones that I've only played, one of the only ones I've played is the Sunday Open, and that's because it's a Sunday that starts at like 3 p.m. So I know even if it lasts like 9 hours, it's going to be midnight on a Monday, like midnight Sunday, that it's going to finish, and that's going to be completely fine in terms of work, in terms of, you know, when I'd be going to sleep anyway. But I've played like 2 or 3 Hegsters, and they've just absolutely crumbed my sleep schedule for like 2 days.
yeah.
So it's not like, again, it's not a criticism at all. It's just the fact that we live in the UK and the time zones are so different that it's a bit awkward. I know the Limitless Online series starts at like 6 p.m. So I think I may, like, if I got back into online events, I'd probably play the Limitless Online series, I think, or I'd play in some of the events that are a bit like the Omni League, where you are given an opponent and you have,
X amount of time to set up a
yeah,
day.
you have like a
Yeah.
week to arrange a game, because that also seems far more accommodating.
Mm-hmm. Should play the Cube League, Jack. That's perfect. It ticks all your boxes right there.
Yeah, I haven't dipped my toe into Cube League actually. I have thought about it
I
though.
played today. It was great. All right. Question 3: Fear of missing out. Would you like to hear? Oh, sorry. You'd like to hear our point of view in general, Shiny V and the ETB mini reprint. I guess they mean for Champs Path, is it? Or oh wait,
Yeah.
it's for Hidden Fates. The ETB had a mini reprint.
Uh, so I guess this is
That's in
kind of
America,
a
I think it was anyway.
yeah.
I
I
don't
guess
know
it's
how
kind of
much
a
we get.
collectory style question, right?
Yeah,
So in general, how collectory stuff is going. Joe's um, far more educated on a lot of the collectory stuff. I know a little bit. Well, I think I probably like, you know, way more about old stuff than I do.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, yeah. Go on, go on, go
No, no, no. You finish your point, and I'll jump in after.
on. So I hear a lot of what's going on with the market in terms of retro stuff from Joe.
Yeah,
And like I say, me and Joe haven't spoken for a couple of weeks outside of like arranging videos and stuff like that. Um, so I don't know. I actually don't know what's going on with the market. The last time we spoke, Joe, it kind of plateaued,
yeah.
and I don't know what's happened since. So I guess I'll find out in a moment. Shiny V. I'm never going to have an issue with these collector sets because I'm never going to collect them. So as long as they, and the fact that the other good thing, the fact that we're still getting a main set the month after. The only time I will ever be bothered by them is if we get them instead of a main set. Um, but the fact that yes we have to wait and that kind of sucks. But you know, it's only a month, and ultimately there's no events, there's no IR events right now, so it doesn't even matter in my mind. So the only time I'll ever have issue with anything like Shiny V or anything like that is if we get them instead of actual competitive sets, because I'm a player over a collector. Um, I don't mind. Like, a lot of people get angry at all of these Charizard cards. I don't really mind because I don't buy. I don't collect. I can see why it would be annoying though. So I understand the frustration, but I don't sort of associate myself with it because it doesn't bother me too much. Um, Reprints are good. More product is always good. I don't think any amount of reprints will ever stop scalping. Um, and I think things like capping the amount of products an individual can buy is the thing that's more likely to stop scalping than endless amounts of reprints, because if you reprint something 100 times but you still let one person buy them all, it doesn't matter. But if you fix fix a set amount to a certain address, I think Chaos Card's first reprint or reprint of the ETBs said you could only buy 2 per household. Yes, there will be ways of getting around that, but you know, it's a lot more effort. So yeah, but I'm always happy to see more reprints. And yeah, I've done over the lockdown period. I actually kind of got into um, like buying singles, buying bulk and buying singles and stuff, and that kind of thing, which was interesting. I've kind of stopped just because the amount of time I was putting into it was too much for it to be really worth it. But it was a really interesting exercise to do for like 6 months. But yeah, it's super interesting. Like I say, it also led me to be able to do that like 4 booster box opening early on the channel, which was great fun. And I'm hoping, I don't know whether I'll be able to. I obviously won't be able to do that for the shiny set, but I'm hoping I'll be able to do that for Battle Styles as well. That'd be great if I could do another like early box opening for that. But yeah, that's collector wise, that's kind of as far as I've gone. I've bought a couple of things to maybe save for a sealed collection, that kind of thing, but I've kind of stayed disconnected in terms of buying or selling anything, but I've been very interested in hearing how it's grown because numbers and money are always really interesting to me. So I've been really interested to see or to hear how things have changed and how influencers have changed things as well. The fact like Logan bought a box and then all of a sudden every box like quadrupled in value overnight is really interesting to me. Probably more interesting because I didn't lose any money on it, but well, I don't think anyone could really lose money on it. But yeah, it really,
if you bought,
really,
you lost money.
Well, yeah, if you bought, you lost money, and if you sold just before, you lost money. But yeah, it's been very interesting, and I'm kind of glad it's something I didn't dip my toe in too much because I could see how you could get stung really bad. But it's been, I've enjoyed keeping up with it in terms of how things have changed because things have been changing so quickly as well. It's been daily changes in terms of the price of products and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm interested to see how things are at the moment though, Joe, because like I say, we haven't spoken in a couple of weeks, so I don't know whether things have gone up, gone down, or still kind of stayed the same as where they were a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so the vintage market is super weird because it's basically going in a K shape where there's giddy optimism all over the place that is pushing certain items, and there's still tons of products being pumped to hell for like incorrect logic. And part of that is the modern stuff is getting bought out by everyone for no reason, and it will be difficult for people to sell this stuff because of the amount of people doing the exact same thing. So there's this ridiculous giddy optimism, which is also where all the investors are jumping on and trying to buy in and hold, and they're holding, modern stuff, which is obviously stupid, in my opinion. And then there's people who are panicking as well. So there's like a fear cycle going down, and there's been the start of people have started to see the prices have got to a halt and dipped in certain areas. So there's also this panic sell-off happening. So there's some cards that are just flatlining and falling, and there's huge like sort of shame and fear and random like panic cycles going on in different items. So the vintage market is chaos right now. It's so funny to watch. Like, it's horrific, and just stand back and watch. Don't get involved at all, basically, is my advice. I would literally hold off. Like, the only cards I've bought this year outside of modern product that I've bought at pre-order prices, the only like vintage cards I've bought is like, I think like 5 set cards that I needed from Skyridge, which is a difficult set to find product for. So even with this wave of hype, there won't be that much more product coming out into the market, and I collect higher graded cards, so they're much more stable, right? Than things like unlimited PSA 7 Charizard cards, which there are literally like 16,000 of, and there's probably an equal number at PSA currently being graded because everyone in the world had one of those as a kid, So you just have to. There's just too much uneducated nonsense going on in the vintage market that you should definitely just like point and be like, look at things from a different perspective and just be calm and have no fear of missing out for any vintage card from Jungle, Fossil, Rocket, Base, even Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. Like, don't worry about those cards. You will never miss out on those cards. They are printed to oblivion. Neo cards in high grades are difficult to come by. So if you're actually looking for those cards, it's a bit of a worry, but only if they're very high grade cards. And if you're just trying to collect for a binder, you will never have to worry about not finding that card unless you're looking for like Japanese trophies. So that's like completely fine. And if you're looking for Japanese trophies, you're probably as or more experienced than I am anyway. So for modern ETBs, I honestly think the way to stop scalping, it can't be done from the storefronts, because then you're making stores less happy to buy the product in the first place, right? If you're making people only buy 2 at a time, why would they not just take the instant profit? They're a business. You want to keep them ordering all the time and being happy to order and not have these restrictions on them. If they want to from a morality standpoint, that's amazing and like good for them and it's good PR and stuff. So maybe they will for that anyway. But I think it has to be the supply side. I think Pokemon should do with Hidden Fates what they did for Evolutions, and actually probably more. Print it for years. Print it, and print it more times. Even with the new shiny set coming out, just keep printing Hidden Fates until everything is common as muck. Even the what they called the shiny vault cards, you know, just make them all really cool, really flashy, and really cheap cards that collectors love and enjoy and have binders of. But there's a ton of it out there, and Evolutions is the exact same. Evolutions has had a spike right now because of demand, but also because of investor like nonsense. But the fact is, there are still probably hundreds of thousands of Evolutions boxes that are still sealed. And right now, there's probably that amount of ETBs and tins of Hidden Fates sealed, of people thinking it's a good idea to hold these sealed. And it's really not a good idea. And Pokemon, if they want to do this, they should just... I mean, firstly, they should be printing Hidden Fates because there are still collectors who are happy to buy tins at $50 when they were, you know, like, what, retail at 25. So, like, they can obviously continue to reprint at a much higher scale. I think at the moment it's literally just COVID situation, which is why their reprints have been mini and not large. So maybe, again, as the world goes back to normal, it'll be easier to print in higher volumes again in between main sets. And I think they should do that. They should just they should make Hidden Fates the most common set. Like, I want to still see Hidden Fates on, like, in stores now and again in, like, 2025. Like, I actually want to see that. That's what's happened with Evolutions, and I want the same to be the case for Hidden Fates. Shiny V is a Japanese set, is amazing. Like, really, really awesome, like, home run set. It bodes well for Shining Fates for us. And unfortunately, Shiny V was probably going to grow in value. I think it ticks every box, and I think it's an amazing set. I still wouldn't fear missing out on the set at all, but I would buy it sooner rather than later because I think there will be continued demand for that set, like we saw with other Japanese sets. They seem to do better over time than English sets. So yeah, ton of opinions there, but yeah, like, I've basically just been taking a monitoring approach of the market this entire year. I've loved it as an experiment, and it's like my most entertaining thing where I will spend, you know, at least an hour most days looking at pop reports or looking at recent sales on eBay or just listening to different content creators. There are so many new investment style content creators on YouTube for Pokemon. I can think of like 30 or 40 channels that blew up this year. Like Pokerev's the obvious one, opening channel. Poker Rand blew up completely after the Logan box. Like, he was already a large channel, but he became full into Pokemon like that year, and he would frittering around with other things like Animal Crossing until Pokemon blew up. And yeah, he's riding that wave, and fair play to him. There's tons of opening people, but then there's also like Danny Phantump, Twice Baked Jake, like Pokenomics, so many channels out there that are getting to like, or Z&G Emporium, he started last year, but he was like pretty new on the scene, and he's jumped up to like 25-30k subs all this year. So there's just like so many eyes brought to this hobby right now. It's actually completely insane. So yeah, I've loved this year as an experiment. So yeah, it's been fun to see, but I would have no FOMO of any English set card in my life, I don't think. This is someone who still has a lot to collect, so yeah. But I would just be patient. Be patient for at least a year. So there you go. But yeah, Shiny V, that's probably something I'd buy today. Do you prefer top loader or card savers for storing singles, or another method that I didn't think about?
I always, well, I don't properly collect, so stuff I have in top loaders, I don't really have too many card saver. Well, I don't think I have any card savers, to be honest. But in general, because I'm such a small scale collector, I have stuff I like in binders, so it's just sleeved and binded.
Yeah, so for me, I actually do it based on condition. If it's a card that I know I want to grade or has a better condition, I'll card saver it. If it's in a lesser condition that I still think is worth, you know, protecting, it'll go in a top loader for me. So that's just my method. It's like, if I know I want to grade it in the near future, or if I basically use it to distinguish that this is a very high quality card. That's what I use card savers for, because those will be the cards I look to grade first. But I have binders as well, and I think you shouldn't be worried about putting things in binders. As long as they're not ring binders, you should be fine storing your cards just in sleeves, and the binder's fine. You won't damage your card. Since when have you been collecting, or how long have you been collecting for? So for me, 12 years.
I mean, arguably only this year. This year is the first year I've decided.
But you're
to
filling
actually
a binder?
Start,
Yeah.
start filling a binder. I've been playing. I've sold a couple of cards, but I have probably like 99% of the cards I've ever owned that I haven't sort of bought in terms of bulk to sell on elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I have probably 99% of the cards I have pulled myself still. I wouldn't say I collect them, but I'm also far too much of a hoarder to ever be able to get rid of them. But this is 2020 is the first year I've really looked at picking out some cards from different sets and being like, okay, I really like the art of this one, or I have a story behind this one. So yeah, probably this year is the year I've put the most time into trying to work out what I want to.
You know what I would really love for a series is if you're filling out your Pokedex binder, like a monthly update for that. I think that would be like so wholesome and so fun. I think that's like just amazing content that I would love to watch and isn't out there, and is like such a cool collecting journey that you can document as well. So
yeah, that would be good. Maybe I'll finish that off over the Christmas season.
That would be Pog. All right. Your most hated single card set / promo / set. Most hated card?
Hated card? I don't know about single
Let
card.
Loose?
Let Loose is pretty annoying. Hammer. The set I like the least. Probably something that's been unimpactful on the format. I wouldn't say Vivid Voltage because it did have amazing rares, and the amazing rares look incredible. So I don't think it's but something like as unimpactful as Vivid Voltage. I think what's been like the worst set in the past couple of years?
Well, Evolutions
Evolutions was pretty
competitive
bad.
standpoint. Champions Path was terrible in competitive. I mean, most things add.
Yeah, probably Generations.
Generations is pretty.
See, again,
bold.
I don't really.
But there's some nice cards there. I love that Pikachu in Generations.
Yeah,
I love all of the PokeQn stuff, the Radiant Collection.
Evolutions wasn't great, to be honest. I didn't get them a nostalgia. The nostalgia hit because I didn't play during base sets. So like, this is going to seem a bit harsh, and it's not exactly how I think. But Evolutions just looked like a really really bad set because they they went back to base set designs where I think designers come on a long way. That none of the cards, there was like maybe 5 cards that were good in the set. That was it. So Evolutions like didn't do much for me. I still tried to complete the master set. I'm actually not far off the master set, to be honest.
Tell me what else you need and I'll sort you out.
But yeah, because I didn't get the nostalgia hit from it. I probably didn't like it as much as a lot of people. So yeah, I'd say the one that's probably the most controversial for me is I wasn't that much of a fan of Evolutions, but
so I don't hate Evolutions that much, but you know what I really hate during opening Evolutions? Whenever you pull a break card, because nothing spoils that retro vibe than seeing a break card in a booster pack. Like, holy, get out of here! Like, I didn't mind putting like a full art mega.
No, they made them look.
But it's like
kind of how they would have in the day.
It's like a Starmie break. Like, you literally just yeet that away like a shuriken. Yeah. Like, get out of my booster pack. I'd rather just like a bog reverse Abra or something. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really hate on too many sets, apart from me just hating on Evolutions. But I actually like a lot of Evolutions as well. Like, I love the Dragonite and the Mewtwo full arts from that set. Even the Pidgeot has amazing artwork. The regular Pidgeot. Yeah. Your most favorite card in your collection with a story. Do you have
You
any
first,
good
because I need to
stories?
think about this.
Stories? I mean, I have some good stories around certain cards. I don't have. I mean, I have too many cards in my collection to actually like pick just one favorite. I
Yeah,
think.
I don't think I have a single favorite. I have a set of 3 Japanese Diamond and Pearl promos that I got this year on Facebook in fairly decent condition. They're promos that were released in English, but they were only released in holo in Japanese of the 3 starters of Gen 4, and Gen 4 is my favorite gen, like by far. So they're definitely not like my favorite card of all time, but they in recent memory they're cards that I really like to look at every now and again because Japanese holos are also a lot nicer, I think. Or well, they're Galaxy holos, so they all look the same, but um, I like the kind of silvery white border art of the Japanese cards, and they're in decent condition, and it's 3 of my favorite Pokemon. So yeah, in recent memory, it's a little promo set of those 3 that I think I'd like. I'm probably going to try and get them framed. I think.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually have that many super good stories. Like a lot of my collection, I either opened myself and graded myself, which I have that experience with a lot of my cards, or I
Yeah.
just bought the card. So there's not too many like amazing stories. I don't like a. I mean, I don't trade enough to actually have any cool stories. There's one card that I bought from a YouTuber who I was fanboying off of for $20. It was a PSA 10 German first edition base set Venusaur holo. I bought that for $20. Literally just to fanboy him, and it was the cheapest card that he had on a listing. This is in 2009. Pokemon Trainer Brad was his YouTube channel. I think he's changed the name of it now to like Brad Collects or something, but he like doesn't post anymore. But he was one of the first YouTubers that actually introduced me to PSA grading because he was doing it at the time for his gym challenge cards. I think he was collecting. And yeah, that card's gone up a lot in value, which is awesome. So,
Mhm.
but that's like the only card I have for the story, and I also don't even care about that card particularly. It's just like something that I have,
It's a cool story.
and it's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
memory. It's a memory of the channel that I used to watch. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Dixie has asked, "Do you believe you should completely do away with coin flips in the game, except for setting up? Would it make the game more competitive and skill based? Do you think they ever will?"
I'm pretty sure they won't. I think it would make the game more skill based because the decision making is a skill and coin flips are not a decision. So I think it would make this game more skill based.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think they should do away with them completely?
Except for setting up, it says, I guess.
Yeah, except for setting up. I'd actually be really interested to see. So, like, I mean, I guess the question is, do you want what other coin flip cards are there in the format that see play right now outside of crushing? Are there any other coin flip cards
What, in the format at all, or just ones that see
in the
play?
in the format that see play?
Not really, no.
Yeah,
Catches
then
see
I can't
play, I
see
guess. Yeah.
I can't see great reason to have them because no one likes crushing hammer and no one likes how it feels to be crushing hammered. So I don't.
Old PC.
I would rather. I actually wouldn't mind some kind of energy disruption that was based on. I don't necessarily think there's an issue with energy disruption. I just think it needs to be more than just flip a coin. I wouldn't mind like discarding some cards or having some kind of condition for energy disruption that slows you down as well. That's fine. Like we were saying earlier on, it's so the difference between hitting heads and tails is so massive right now. If you're going to have an effect that powerful, it shouldn't be on a random coin flip. It should be on a decision based thing like having to discard cards or having to discard a Pokemon or something like that. So yeah, I can't. I'm really scared of having the blanket statement. I don't think we should have coin flips outside of setting up, but I can't think of a format where it's been defined by coin flips and I've been happy with it. I think I'd probably rather just more decisions in the game and let the decisions determine
I mean, there's
the
enough drawing
multiplication.
RNG already, right? We don't need flips on
Yeah,
top.
yeah, yeah.
uh, So I agree. I don't want them in the game, but I think they will always be in the game.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't think we'll ever be rid of them.
I also think Japanese culture around Pokemon is very different from Western culture around Pokemon. I think there's far more people who are just in stores and having fun and turning up each week with wacky nonsense decks and literally laughing with their friends when they hit heads and, you know, being sad when they flip tails. And it's just like a different game in Japan, I think. It's just treated very, very differently. And the Western world with capitalism and all this other stuff, we are super hyper competitive and will completely live and die by winning and losing a single game. So it's just a completely different culture to Japanese culture. So I think coin flips will always come out of Creatures Inc. Therefore, they'll come over to our our sets.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Could you both repeat the following in your most American accent as possible? All right. Do you have the thing up, Jack? Or do you want me to do
I
it first?
I don't have the thing up at the moment.
uh, so the line in English is, "I'm sorry, sir, but your credit card has been declined. Understandable. Have a nice day."
Wonderful. Okay. Um, I'll preface this with I'm terrible at accents. I'm sorry, sir, but your credit card has been declined. Understandable. Have a nice day. That was more
That's
Australian
Jack's.
accent.
So we'll move on to the next. Lesqueege, thanks so much for following.
The thing about Joe is he lived in America for a little while, so he should be great at this.
What are you talking about? I've literally never lived in America.
You've been to America enough to.
I've been to America
Yeah.
like 2 more times than you.
No, you haven't. I'm sure you've been to America more than me.
Only a few. You thought I lived in America? Hello?
I'm sure. Wait, let me see if I can find. I know what I can. Hold on.
What are you doing?
Let me.
Jack,
Nothing.
don't make me stop the stream. Jack! Jack, stop.
Okay. Let me.
Right. Next question. James asks, if you both had a week to train your dads in TCG, what deck would you give them and who would win in a best of one?
This is my favorite question.
This is a genius question. This is from the lovely James Hart.
What deck?
What deck would you teach him?
See, so the question is, you teach him the best deck in format, or do you just teach him like something simple, hoping that?
This is what the dribbliest deck in format.
Yeah, but hoping that it will do good, like good enough to just be like another beginner, because it's like two beginners. So you could just teach them a theme deck because they're easy to understand. I think I'd actually probably go for I'd try and teach Eternatus, because in my mind it's fairly straightforward. There's not too much sequencing with it, and I think it's a fairly powerful deck without having to have too many like major intricacies of the game understood, if that makes sense. So I think I'd probably try and teach Eternatus. The most difficult thing would be like you're immediately breaking some game mechanics, like you can only have 5 Pokemon on the bench and stuff like that. But things like Crobat explicitly state you can only use once per turn, and yeah. So I think I'd probably try and teach like a super basic Eternatus. No sort of Spiritomb, Sableye, that kind of thing. Just a super bog 4/4 Eternatus, 4 Crobat, 4 Yveltal, so they don't even have to worry about finding switching cards, stuff like that. Yeah, I'd go Eternatus. Someone said Granbull.
So knowing my dad as I do, he would not want to read anything. So I try and give him like Greenzard or Mad And I think my dad would 100% lose. He's
I have
terrible at most games, and he will choose not to read everything.
that
So,
principle.
so,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
so I don't know your dad well enough to know that he'd be any better, but I know my dad's standard would be quite low.
We should arrange this.
No. Jacksu TCG asks, okay, 2 questions. 1, could you do a league week with only commons on commons? Noted.
Noted. I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not going to say no.
And 2, what 1 card would you reprint in standard? Okay. Teaching boss game.
We need to stop saying N.
Think about how many words are written on Arceus Yagapalkia and on Zacian. That's already too many words, guys. He'd have flipped that GX marker with just 1 metal attached, let me tell you.
Do more damage, look.
That's what that does. Or
Okay, I'm gonna try and think of a Pokemon.
I'd love to see a battle of the Omni Dads. Oh Christ.
I think if it was a Pokemon, I'd want to reprint something like Azelf or Mesprit from the
Definitely Prize Interaction was going to be one of my
Prize Interaction or some kind of disruption for stuff like the Dene and Crobat. I wouldn't hate. So yeah, Legends Awakened, Azelf or Mesprit probably Azelf over Mesprit. Though I feel like probably Azelf.
Nice. Yeah, I'd like some prize card manipulating stuff going on for sure.
We had Rotom, didn't we?
Yeah, Rotom. That was so slow and so bad as well. Didn't even let you look at what you were getting.
No. Oh, imagine Rotom with our anger in format though.
Yeah.
Poggers.
Yeah, something like that I think would be nice. Or
Fiery Flint, let's go baby blade.
Everyone's favourite N. Everyone's favourite answer. Just the letter N. Plus. Constantine asks, what's your opinion on the core player survey? Do you think they will listen to players or just continue to make standard worse?
I think that question is leading. I do think they will take into account what is said. I don't.
Yeah, they're not going to do it and just put it in a drawer, are they?
I don't think they would have done a survey if they weren't going to listen to the players. I don't think you should expect the next set to have no 2 prizes and PTGO to have a ranked ladder by the end of the month, but I think it is a fantastic first step in us trying to I'm trying to be as possible. I think it's a great first step in terms of some of our worries being addressed.
So they sent out emails, right, to let people know about this, but it is just a public thing that anyone can answer, right?
No. Only a limited amount. I think it was a limited amount of people can answer. Only people that got emails.
Okay. Did you get one?
I believe I did. I need to double check, but
I
believe I did.
Frog.
I don't know this for sure, and I don't know. This could be completely wrong because I haven't looked into it enough. But I thought it was people that qualified for Players Cup 2 that got emails.
Okay.
I could be wrong because I haven't. I saw that once and I haven't seen that since. But I don't know everyone.
Yeah, I have no idea about the.
The link was the same for everyone, so anyone with the link could fill it in. Or maybe you can just share.
Yeah,
but I feel like I would have seen the link in Verbank or something by now if it was just.
Well, I only asked because I know Poker Beach. They said that they wouldn't put the link in their post.
Right.
So I think people could have just accessed it.
Yeah, I need to double check the email. I saw the email when it came in, and I just haven't got around to doing it. But I also noted. I'm pretty sure I noted on the email that I have until January the 15th or something. So I didn't. Right. I also didn't think I've got to do it immediately.
Seen it loads on Twitter. Okay.
But yeah, maybe it is open then. Hopefully, if it's open, they at least filter out the people just saying your game is trash.
Yeah, I think focus groups would be better, but that's also a lot of commitment to get focus groups.
It was on Survey. Oh, if it was on SurveyMonkey, then I think anyone could access it. I know. Well, if they paid for It depends what they did, because I'm pretty sure SurveyMonkey gives you like 100 free responses, and then you
They'll
have to
pay
pay
for it.
for.
They'll pay for it.
But
For
yeah,
sure.
but it's like it's like tiers, so it probably depends on how much they paid for tier wise.
Right.
Like
Okay.
maybe so I don't maybe that's why they only sent it out to a limited amount of people, because they
There's a
only
cap to it somewhere.
yeah, I don't know. The but yeah, I've seen. Hopefully they aren't bogged down with people just complaining. I know people like CDO's Network, Luke, like wrote a couple of like long essays or long, well written answers for some of the questions. And I hope they, I'm sure they will, but I hope they take the time to read those as well as filter out the obvious.
Hashtag ban ADP
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah, yeah, the useless ones. I hope they also take time to, because um, credit where credit's due. Luke has been so active in things that he wants to see changed about the game recently, and finally he's been given an opportunity, and we all have to change things. I hope they honor that opportunity with taking the time to read the feedback, even if they don't change anything. I'd like to think they will take the time to
It can only
read
be a
and
good
maybe even
step.
address some of the things that come up frequently.
And just the fact that they're
Um,
getting into contact with us, like,
like it's
you
an
know,
amazing
that's not
first step.
happened ever before, right? Not that I
Yeah,
can remember.
I think the
They're
other thing I
actually
think it
listening to the
shows.
community more than just what they think we want,
Yeah,
or more
I
than just
haven't.
outcry, you know?
I haven't read.
Incredible. I was
I
like
haven't read
amazed. I
the.
was so happy when I heard about it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't read the survey yet, so I don't know its exact contents. But the fact that they have put in a lot, from what I understand, a fair few PTGO questions also indicates to me that they're not expecting on events to come back anytime soon, which is why they may be pushing
Yeah.
PTCGO, because this is the perfect time for them to improve PTCGO.
That was my biggest rant on the survey.
Unfortunately, it's also the time where they probably have to do the least because they know people are going to be playing it. But hopefully, they see that this is the perfect time to. The questions didn't include PCGO. I thought they did.
There wasn't many specific ones. I think there was one asking about Players Cup, or like if you participated in it,
Okay, okay,
and then a string of questions. But I don't think there was much talking specifically about what you change about PTCGO. But
okay.
there is like a
But there
big
was
like other comment section, so you certainly could, and
so
that's where I put it.
there's opportunity to at least talk about PCGO, if not.
Yeah,
Okay, well, hopefully people use that opportunity to try and.
I mean it's got to be the
Um,
biggest thing, right? It has to be the
yeah, yeah,
biggest thing
yeah.
from the player
In my
base.
mind. And hopefully, because that was kind of why that, yeah, interesting. Maybe, like I say, maybe I'm wrong, but that was why I assumed it was just people that qualified for Players Cup. But if there was a question saying, "Did you play Players Cup?" then obviously that's not the case because
I
everyone can
mean, I
see.
can't. Maybe I'm just thinking. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
they
take a look
gave like a
tomorrow.
2 year time scale of like, have you played in tournaments and stuff like this
Yeah.
and that. So,
Okay, I'll take a look. Maybe this evening, maybe tomorrow.
but
I don't know
yeah,
that I'll be in before then, but yeah, I'll take a look. But yeah, I think it is an amazing first step, and I hope it is.
looking back at some of those questions as well, like they're super, and looking at the products that they've actually released this year that are more catered towards players than collectors, is like they've come a long way. Like if League Battle decks continue to be released, if the like Eternatus VMAX products continue to be released, the tins have been amazing over the last like 2 years. Like the tag team tins and the like Zacian dog tins, you know? Like
Yeah.
there is so the trainer toolkit. What an incredible product that is for players.
The
Like
Trainer Toolkit is, I think, the best product they've ever released. It was insane, and that's the thing. And this is something that I think some people um, don't know, don't understand, don't I don't know. But basically, um, your issues with ADP being a card shouldn't be directed toward TPCI because TPCI don't print the cards.
yeah.
TPCI run events, make products, that kind of thing. They don't. They have nothing to do with the card design team, and as such, that's why it's a saying ban ADP isn't completely useless, but saying ban ADP also isn't kind of being directed at the right people. No, okay. Saying ban ADP is saying things like your card design is terrible is not being directed at the right people, so it's a completely useless comment. Saying ban ADP is almost a useless comment, but at least TPCI are the people that choose to ban stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, TPCI don't make the cards, and this year has been incredible for TCPI. They have with the slight issues with the first Players Cup aside, other than that, I think they have done very well. Given that online events are the only way we can play right now, and they've still released incredible products this year.
The products have
Absolutely
been barnstorming.
incredible
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
And as such, and also very, very fairly costed products as well. The Champions Path ETB being like retail $45 was so generous.
Mm-hmm.
It's so generous. So yeah, or $50 or whatever it is, or £50 whatever it is. It's so generous. So TPCI outside of Players Cup, and I don't even know that I don't know how I don't know enough about how that was managed to make too much comment, but the products they have released have been very good this year, and I hope that is the start of something that continues, because people are angry that they're releasing a League Battle ADP Zacian deck, but that's so good. It doesn't matter that more people are going to be playing ADPZ, because more people are going to be playing, and that's what matters. I don't care if the meta share of ADP goes up if the more players turn up. It doesn't really matter to me. I almost don't care what decks are at the tournament. I just care about the number of players at the tournament.
Yeah, true.
And they have pushed products so well this year. So yeah, huge hats off to them for that.
Yeah, I may have to do a video on the survey actually and give my opinions on it, and not necessarily like answer it how I would answer it, but just like tick boxes just to see all the questions that were on there and just talk about why I think these are good questions, why they're actually asking these questions rather than what my answer would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because it really did. I think some of the questions were amazingly pertinent and really identifying some. I mean, they were just really well done questions. I think they got so much out of the question. They will be getting so much out of this data. I think it's gonna be amazing.
That's the thing. It's gone, and that's the other thing that's amazing. It's gone from absolutely no communication to one of the, from what I understand and what people are saying, one of the best surveys they've ever seen.
Yeah, so 50. It's like a 50-question survey.
And they have hit the nail on the head with.
It's concise, but it gets such valuable information for them. I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I really, like I say, they've done step 1 fantastically. Step 2 is implementing some of these decisions, and I'm hoping that they're able to do that, and I'm hoping they do that well. And if they do, it's going to be, whenever it is, it's going to be a fantastic day when events come back, because they're going to have hopefully put into practice a lot of these ideas and opinions that people have. Obviously, there's going to, like you say, there's always going to be the random hashtag ban ADPs that they're going to have to immediately throw in the bin. But if you know content creators like ourselves and people like Celios are taking the time to write essays worth of answers.
I mean, they know how passionate some people are. The core player base, they know. As soon as you tick the first box, which is how long have you been playing for, and someone ticks the 10+ years, they know that they've got someone who's clearly passionate and involved in the game. Yeah. But they want to hear from everyone as well, right? So,
well, yeah. Like you say, it's not just about those, but it's about the new players that literally picked up a card in March and then all of a sudden events were banned. Well, if events were stopped, well, if they've managed to still stay interested in over the past 9 months, first off, fair play, because there's been nothing to do. But
yeah.
Secondly, they probably have no idea about kind of what real events are like, which is great. And also with the huge influx of people that have, like, the hobby is under a massive spotlight at the moment because of the collectors stuff. That will naturally increase the amount of people playing as well to an extent. So there's going to be a lot of people in here and a lot of people playing the hobby that have never sat down at a real event before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a massive step forward, and I was very excited when I got the email. And I'm looking forward to actually being able to devote an hour just to sit down and properly think about my answers to these questions, because I think this could be the time where we can see some massive changes, hopefully.
Yeah. Just do remember, though, TPCI are a very slow-moving vehicle. Give them time, guys. Just because they've got these answers in, it'll still take a while for any actions to change. But amazing, still. I'm still super hyped about that, right?
That one was great.
What was the last sealed product you bought, apart from boxes?
Apart from booster boxes, I actually have it next to me. I have 3 Champions Path pin boxes here.
Lovely.
3 lovely.
Gengar and Thingamabob.
No, the original trio of boxes, the red, green, and blue.
Dreadnought and
Um,
Senti and Eldegoss.
I kind of wanted to have like one of each in a sort of like a collection, but unfortunately my the Dreadnought one is pretty battered, so I also kind of want to open them.
Probably
So
gonna have to open it then.
might have to do an opening of those one day. But yeah, that was the last thing I bought. If I do end up trying to get the full collection, I will try and get a decent like mint condition full collection. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I think mine was either Champions Path ETBs or Eternatus boxes. One of those things. Oops. You plan to do a week of OP League with Legacy format. You've done the theme and some other stuff. You'd like to see a Legacy week.
the issue we have with Legacy is accessibility.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but Legacy in general is a very, very expensive format because you can't really trade the cards very well. You have to buy the cards with tokens that you earn, and no one wants to grind on PTGO. I think you can trade some cards, but like the best way of getting cards is buying packs from the store with tokens, and then all of those cards are trade locked, so you can't even trade your spares to your friends and stuff. And as such, I think maybe Azul is one of the only people in the league outside of the people that have demo accounts that would actually be able to even make decks. So Legacy format probably won't work this year. If there's a way of doing it, I will work out a way of doing it, but it won't happen. It won't happen this season at all.
Yeah.
Similarly with Expanded, we've had a couple of requests from some of our European players that because Europe hasn't had Expanded for 3 years, they haven't had cards for 3 years. They've traded off old stuff to get new stuff, which is completely fair. And as such, they've asked for no Expanded, so we won't even have an Expanded week, which is something that I'm really upset about because I did want an Expanded week. But this year it won't be happening. Next year, though, there's a couple of changes I want to make to the league, and that will mean that we can probably have an Expanded week next year.
I mean, yeah, even if there's just scope for us to provide codes for people to trade for things, like even if it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, there's multiple things that could happen. If PTCGO ever changes the economy of the game, all of these formats will be immediately very accessible. So I'm not going to say I will say no to this season because I can't see anything happen before.
No.
I can't see the whole economy of the game changing before July when the season ends, or with enough time for people to be able to get cards before the season ends. But maybe next year it will be super easy. If not, I have an idea of being able to have Expanded accessible to people. But I don't think until there's an easy way to get Legacy cards, we can really ask people to play Legacy format unless it's not on PTCGO. Maybe one day we can have some kind of like tabletop sim format or another third-party format or something like that. But either the economy of the game needs to change, or there needs to be an agreement within the league that we don't use PTGO for a week, which I don't think people will like.
No.
Necessarily, just because PTGO is easy to use
and it's actually the best viewing experience as well for a lot of compared to other things.
So yeah, no Legacy before next season, and probably not next season. Very unlikely we'll see Expanded before next season, but hopefully some Expanded next season. But that's why we're looking for other formats like single prize format and theme deck week and stuff like that, because theme deck week, yes, you don't have the cards, but you need 1,500 coins to be able to participate. Yes, it took a bit of grinding. I had to grind a bit, but I don't think it takes particularly long to grind for 1,500 coins, especially with like events that give you like 400 for winning an event. It's not. I don't think it's that difficult. So yeah, we're always taking suggestions for new formats, though. I think the next format is going to be this year's Professor Cup rules. I need to look at them first, but I think the next format or the next special week will be the 2020 Professor's Cup rules. but yeah, that's subject to change. But yeah, that's the plan, I think.
Cool. Right. Simon asks, in your opinion, what is the skill to luck ratio needed to succeed in this format relative to other formats?
Drawing cards is so important at the moment. Like the draw RNG of the game is very important at the moment. I think there's definitely some skill to it, but naturally, the less decisions there are in a game, the less.
Man, why so nice? Haven't heard from you in ages. How's it going, dude?
So yeah, I don't think it. I don't know. I couldn't. I honestly couldn't say a ratio, but I don't think it's one of the most skill-based formats we've had in a while. There's a lot of the fact that there's like full crushing hammer in like 80% of decks at the moment kind of shows that.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think. I mean, obviously, deck choice can make you lean away or toward luck based on what deck you're playing. So you can sort of you can slant your ratio towards luck or skill more based on how you build your deck and whether you're choosing to play crushing hammers in the first place. But I think if you look at the tournament results, you see the same names up there for the online tournaments. You see Azul, Pedro, all those players. Even the Players Cup 2 won by Zach. The top players are still going to be the top players. So that's always going to be the case.
There's always going to be an element of skill, for sure. And these players do well because they are very good at the game. So yeah.
All right. And how did you two meet and decide to form this channel?
It was actually an online tournament. A YouTuber called Pokemon Dan Level 45, who you probably now know as the Diamond Minecart Dan TDM. He left Pokemon at the right time and joined the Minecraft hype and is now like a multi-millionaire. We should have made Omni Minecraft. He hosted a Skype tournament, and one day, me and Joe were both looking just to play some Pokemon, and no one else was about. So he said, we both kind of hopped in for a game, and that was that. And then I think a couple of years later, we were like, well, we took. It was actually at a time where we started the channel, kind of at a time where we didn't talk to too many other people.
Mm-hmm.
We very much tested between ourselves a lot. We started. It was kind of when we started to talk to Luke Kirkham a little bit.
I don't think I'd met him when we started the channel.
Oh really? Okay. Because had you?
I think I'd only met Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd only met Alex.
So yeah, basically we got to a point where we were testing with each other like every night, but and it still happens now sometimes. We sometimes got into loops where we were so convinced we'd done, like we'd built a deck or whatever. We sometimes didn't have like a third party opinion. And that's not like why we set up the YouTube channel, but we also wanted to have a way of also sharing our views and deck lists and opinions on stuff, because they were just between us. I think it was, you hadn't started going to too many events at that point, right? You'd been to a couple, but I'm
trying to get my timelines right. I actually think I'm wrong. I think the channel, we actually did know the guys before, because I think the first video is Flashfire, so I definitely would have played in events before that. So yeah, you're right. Well, we knew the guys, but we were kind of like outsiders. Or I definitely was like an outsider. You went to more tournaments, but I was like a 2 tournament a year Andy kind of thing,
And so yeah, we kind of were like, well, we want to share, and this was also at a time where it was actually a lot more difficult to access information about the game as well. It was all article sites. There wasn't actually that many YouTube channels. There was the Top Cut, there was Jaywitz, there was Dan. I'm pretty sure Dan was still doing videos.
No, Dan had finished. That's one of the reasons why we started, I think.
Well, yeah,
because there was the UK gap in the market, right? Yeah. Team Fish Knuckles was just starting.
TFK, yeah. And that was it. We were like, well, we play Pokemon every day. We build lists, but we'd build like 3 lists a week, test like 3 lists a week, but then Joe wouldn't be able to go to tournaments. I'd go to one, and I could only play one list, and usually it'd be like the same list that I play every week or whatever. So we're like, well, why don't we try and share some of the lists and stuff that we made? And yeah, it kind of built off of that. It was initially going to be TCG and VG, but the VG kind of went down like a lead balloon.
Well, we only knew TCG people, so I think it
Yeah.
only really spread among TCG people anyway to begin with. I guess
Yeah.
that's it, you know. And it's easier for you to continue to produce content when it shows that that's being watched more than the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's positive reinforcement. You see there's more likes, there's more comments, there's more this, that, and the other on the other videos, so you stick to that. It's pretty common sense, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of why we decided to form the channel. It was just wanting to share more stuff about the game that we were playing like 5 nights a week anyway.
Yeah. True.
And now we're here nearly at 20k.
In the rabbit hole now. Bloody hell.
Can't leave.
Right, Dr. Frog asks, with the resurgence for love of old cards, do you think Pokemon will ever do nostalgia reprint sets for other WotC sets like they did with Evolutions? Certainly could for 25th anniversary. Certainly could.
They could have. I don't think they will. And the difficulty I have is working out what they do, because.
Would you think it could be a Neo era?
Well,
or do you think it would be like?
It was obvious because it was the first ever set.
Yeah.
But how many people are like? Obviously there will be people that are like, oh, I love the Neo sets, but
I think
feel like there will never be a group of people that ever have that connection that they did with base set with any other set.
Yeah, I think.
In my mind, I could see them never doing it again, just because base set was the only way they could really do it.
So for me, Evolutions didn't cover all of base set, which I guess is like good forward thinking from them. So they could do like Jungle
Evolution
Fossil 2. And then have some base set cards, like have the base set Blastoise and Venusaur in the set, for example.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, that's more likely than Neo, because like you said, there's just way less. Like... It's a funnel, right? It all starts with the original and goes down as the sets get older, or as the generations get older.
I feel like they will never have the same nostalgia appeal with any other set than base set. Even with the growth of the game, even though there's millions and millions more people playing the game right now and buying the cards right now than there ever was, those millions of people don't have the same love of base set Sword and Shield as the people that first bought base set have for those cards. So I honestly don't think we can ever see. I don't think it will be anything outside Gen 1 ever again. I think I could see the whole Jungle Fossil plus missing bits and bobs of base set, but I don't think I can't ever see them doing like a Skyridge reprint or a
no
reprint.
No one cares. Yeah, it's so niche.
The only other one is like
they could do a Team Rocket theme as well.
This wouldn't really be a reprint, but like a Fire Red Leaf Green 2 or something, which wouldn't be Fire Red Leaf Green, but like a set of only Gen 1 Pokemon, but in the new style,
not a reprint. Yeah.
But I think the other thing is people obviously care about those kind of cards, but also with the kind of collector base they have now, people also care about shiny cards. So I think as long as shiny cards sell like Shiny V and Hidden Fates and stuff like that, I don't ever see them. I think the fact that Shining Fates is such like an internal rip-off of Hidden Fates, which doesn't bother me, but it just so blatantly is that that's not going to change for a long, long time, because they saw it work with Hidden Fates. They know it's going to work with Shining Fates. You know, people like shiny cards. Why would they not just keep rinsing and repeating? It's also super easy for them because there's no one cares about the regular set, and all they have to do is reprint and slightly change colors on cards that they've already printed. It's a super easy set for them to print as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. What's in your opinion the most overused mechanic in the TCG?
Overused mechanic.
How about Rare candy. Overused. All you need is basics, guys.
Is it over? Is it overused if it's never used though?
Even now, to this day, it's overused. No one should be using those. Dregs.
Probably. Well, it depends what you mean by mechanic.
Yeah,
Probably,
do they mean
if you
like bringing
mean
back deluge style effects? Do they mean like?
if you mean like specific, yeah. If you mean like a deluge style effect or whatever, I don't know. If you mean mechanic, I would just say multiple prize Pokemon is probably the most overused one, but it's never
Well,
gonna.
yeah, it is overused.
It's never, but we're not like we're too far
It'll continue to be
down the rabbit
overused.
hole now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the most overused mechanic is probably Pokemon that give it more than one prize. It was pretty cool for like the first like if they'd done it for a year or so. But yeah,
It's very difficult to find a card that isn't like a throwback or at least similar to a card that has already been printed at this point. That's just there's only so many rules you can break in so many ways of a certain set of rules. So pretty much everything's overused at this point. If you've been playing long enough, you'll be able to hark back to some card that's very similar.
Yeah.
For just about any effect. So it's just what it is.
Which I don't think that's a bad thing though. Like we said about the new mustard cards, I think Maxi and Archie are very, very cool cards. So sometimes that's actually a good thing.
True. Epos asks, what made the Pokemon TCG stand out for you? Why'd you play Pokemon as opposed to Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh?
I played the Pokemon games as a kid. It probably led me to it first. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime, but I never really. I own cards. I own loads of cards, but I've never actually taken the time to learn how to play the game. I know how to play Magic. I don't mind Magic. I've played a handful of games of like Commander, but outside of that, I haven't really played too much Magic. But I understand the fundamentals. I feel like Magic is the baseline of like 80% of TCGs. If you understand Magic, you probably understand like the fundamentals of like 80% of TCGs out there because so many of them are based on similar mechanics to Magic. Pokemon is actually really out there in how unique it is.
Mm.
And maybe that's a reason why it sticks with me a little bit. I don't know. One type of card games I'm not great at, probably through lack of experience, is ones where there are multiple like phases, like a startup phase, then like a setup phase, then like an attack phase, then like a setup 2 phase, and like an attack 2 phase. I'm typically fairly bad at those, but I also can't say I've ever invested too much time into them. I was interested in looking at Digimon, but as soon as I saw it was like a phase-based game, I kind of switched off a little bit. Maybe I will end up learning it, I don't know, but I kind of switched off a little bit. So yeah, I'm not great at those, and that might be why I also stick with Pokemon, because it's a super easy game to play as well. It's not difficult to play. The concepts are really easy. And it's also, like I say, it's also very unique. I think Magic is, I think a lot of games are very cookie cutter Magic games, which I don't think is a bad thing. Magic is obviously massive and works, but because of that, I feel like there's no real appeal to a lot of them because I'd probably just play Magic because it has the player base.
Mm-hmm. For me, I mean, I had collected Pokemon very young, didn't know the rules at all. Picked up Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was like 12, 13, just, when it came around the first time with the anime and all that stuff. Did learn the rules to that and played that for like a couple of years. But it was only really me going back into playing Pokemon because I was back collecting Pokemon. So I just happened to have the cards and then explored the game more. So it's literally because I was collecting Pokemon that I then got into playing Pokemon. It's not that it's not like I sat down and said, okay, what's the best TCG for me? It's like I just had a binder full of Pokemon cards and then learned to play the game, and it just evolved from there. And the one thing, I mean, obviously I like the characters in Pokemon as well, so that kind of helped and made it familiar compared to like Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were coming out at the time that weren't linked to the show or whatever. So I don't know, just a mixture of nostalgia and just having access to the cards, I guess. What a terrible decision that I chose Pokemon. Could have chosen such better games to play instead, but here we are. Fez asks, thoughts on the lifespan of Tapu Bulu GX? I loved it so much, and I'm missing that easily accessible high-tier deck in this meta. Any thoughts, Jack?
I don't think I ever played a game of Vika Bulu. I played some Lorantis Bulu. I don't think I ever played it at a tournament though. But I don't think I ever played a game of Vika Bulu. So
I
I
played
wouldn't want to.
Vikabulu at the Open, Anaheim Open.
I think wasn't there a what was that deck? Oh yeah. What's it called? Sandaconda Colossal. If you want to play Vika Bulu, just play
Yeah.
Sandaconda Colossal in this deck. Sandaconda Colossal in this format because it's basically Vika Bulu 2.0 but worse. But yeah.
Vikaray was better anyway. Yeah, what was the evolution of Bulu? Did it start
Bulu
off?
went into yeah. So it started like Bulu came out the weekend of Birmingham regionals, and
Yeah,
Lorantis Bulu was like the thing because Lorantis promo also came out that weekend, and Lorantis promo was like the thing,
that was the expectation. Yeah,
but the secret deck was Vika Bulu. I think an American player like shared a list like the Thursday night or the Friday night before or something, and everyone was like, "No, it's going to be garbage." And then I think a couple day two'd, and
a
then
couple
the
top
next
eighted.
okay, yeah. And then the next week, all of a sudden, like no one was playing Lorantis Bulu anymore.
Yeah,
Everyone had like stopped playing Lorantis Bulu. Basically, there was a couple of like Lorantis Bulu in day two as well, but the Vika Bulu were the ones that progressed into top eight because I remember playing Maze playing Lorantis Bulu on day two.
yeah. It's
But
not
yeah,
like
the Vika.
Lorantis Bulu was bad. It's just the Vika Bulu was better.
It just turned out that Vika Bulu wasn't like a because everyone was like, oh, stage two meme. But it turned out like it was
It was
actually
just
pretty
more
good.
aggressive, basically. Yeah,
And Vika Bulu was like a solid like tier two deck like that whole season or the whole next season. It was like it was never groundbreaking, but you knew some people like you knew it was like a top 128, top 64 deck, pretty much guaranteed because
yeah,
it, as long as you hit your Candy Voodoo to Candy Vika turn two, it was fine. It was super end proof, which was really important for the format because as soon as you had like one Vika Vault, maybe two Vika Vaults out, you basically didn't need any other card in your deck.
yeah.
So it was it was really well positioned in that meta, and then Ray came out, and basically Turbo Ray was the thing for like one tournament for Worlds because we still had Max Elixir, but then Max Elixir rotated, and people started playing like.
I thought Guzma as well was a big thing for Bulu, making it way worse.
Oh yeah. So I guess Guzma. There was also no gusting in that format, right? We
I'm
didn't have
trying to
like
think. I'm
Saturn
trying to think what the gust was, but something. I mean, I think maybe it was just
Oh, it was
Zoroark plus
Lycanroc. It was
Guzma.
like there was no Zoro. Yeah. Okay, so I think
It's just the fact that it's just the deck became vulnerable for some reason. I think before I can't. My timeline is really whack. I'll have to look back at previous tournaments to actually know this better.
yeah. But basically, then Ray came out, and everyone like at this point like Vika Bulu wasn't a deck when Ray came out at all. I'm pretty sure the format had like sped up.
Yeah, it just turned
And we
into
also had
Vika
Ray
Ray, right? Vika Ray was a decent deck though.
But yeah, then like so after Worlds, I think like at Worlds, one or two Vika Ray like played in day two or something, but they didn't do great. And then obviously Pedro top eighted with top forward with Turbo Ray.
It
So
was
everyone like
rotation that made rotation made
but
Vika Ray
then
okay.
rotation got rid of Max Elixir and slowed the format back down.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vika Ray again, I think it was a case of people being like, "There's no way that's good." Oh, maybe it's good, and then the regional after it was like I don't know, like 8 or 10% of the meta or something stupid after being like a meme like 3 days before.
I still thought it was terrible, but
yeah, that was I hated playing against that deck because it felt like Vikaray never ever missed anything. It felt like you couldn't end that deck because they just like obviously after their setup you couldn't end them, that was fine. But even if you end them like early game, it didn't matter. It just didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it. Was in what was that tournament? It was the German regional that year. Was it Frankfurt? I think it was Frankfurt. I played against 3 Vika Rays playing Buzzrock, being like, okay, I'll just gust Grubbins every turn, and I lost it all 3 because I'd like N Bloodthirsty Ice Killer Grubbin, and they'd still hit like 210 on a Buzzwole the next turn.
I remember having I had a really sad loss against a Vika Ray when I was playing Zoro Weavile Burnett, and I was playing like double Kukui, double Devoured Field, double Choice Band, and I remember just having 3 trades to hit any of those 6 outs, and I whiffed and lost. Remember that? That was a treat.
Vika probably comes a close second to the deck I liked playing against the least. I really did not like that deck.
It was booed.
I never,
Anyway.
I never had an issue with Vika Bulu. I don't know why, but Vika Ray...
Just annoying, man.
I don't know.
All right. Yadoska asks, are you guys studying or working outside of Pokemon, or is it only this channel? Well, it's definitely not this channel that is our income, that's for sure.
There would be way more videos, way more streams if there was more of a reliance.
We'd be on the PTCG radio grind if this was our income.
Yeah.
And we'd have 2 separate channels.
Yeah, I'm working. I'm starting a new job in January, so I need to do some kind of update video about that, about how my schedule is going to change. Not that I'm streaming much at the moment, anyway. But yeah, basically, I'm starting a new job, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have to dedicate to videos and streams for the first couple of months. I do now have my new computer. It's such a bittersweet time that I've got a new computer and I can finally stream again, and now I can't stream because of time. Which is obviously something that I'm so happy about. I'm super happy that I've got this job, but it's going to mean content is going to slow down a little bit because I also have to prioritize running the league before making content, unfortunately, because there's 20 people relying on me running the league that I can't just kind of forget about. Whereas if I don't do a video, Joe will be doing videos, so it's not like the channel's just going to go barren.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, the league is my priority, and it takes a lot more work than I think people realize. So I can't really just neglect the league for videos. Hopefully, when I know how intensive this job is going to be, I will be able to make time for trying to stream again. But the other thing is I also haven't been streaming because I haven't been playing Pokemon recently. I play 3 games a week for the league, and that's it. And that probably is reflected in my results of the league at the moment, but that's not something that I'm too fussed about. And I don't know how well received on OmniPoke, at least on this channel, other content would be. How well received other games would be. At the moment, I'm playing like an unhealthy amount of COD, for example. And I don't think anyone would really want to watch me stream COD, but you know, there's maybe some people out there who would. I don't know, but yeah, I will be streaming again when I know how intensive my job is going to be. But I've been told it's going to be pretty intense. And at the moment, like I say, the league has to be my priority because there's 20 people relying on me running that and running it well, and because of that, I feel responsible to them more than responsible to the channel. When I know Joe is handling the channel completely fine. So yeah.
And what's the work you're doing?
So I've got a job as a junior software developer that I start in January. I'm moving up to where it is in Lincoln. It's working for the student union, developing a system for other student unions to be able to do stuff, manage stuff, that kind of thing, which is really exciting. It's like my dream job, which is why I say it's so bittersweet that I can't stream at the moment. Now I've got my new computer, because it's it's a great thing to happen, but unfortunately, I'm hoping that it opens up a lot of doors that may even lead me back into Pokemon and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm moving in like 2 weeks' time up to Lincoln, where hopefully I'll have internet and be able to still record games and run the league and stuff. I actually don't even know whether I'll be able to run the league if I don't have internet, which would be crumbs. So yeah, Joe, I might be sending you a spreadsheet at some point soon. But yeah, I'm hoping it opens some doors. And like I say, I have other commitments and projects that I've discussed with other people that I want to get done over the next few months. the channel is a massive part of me and Pokemon, but I know like it's in perfectly good hands with Joe just doing videos every now and like and me only doing them every now and again because that's one of the benefits of running a channel with having two people run a channel because it means one of us can quite easily just take a step back every now and again and the other one can kind of step in for whatever reason, which is something that I think has been so useful in terms of the motivation to keep creating content.
For sure.
The motivation, that pressure of if you don't, it's not the channel going barren because there's still someone else that is interested in making content. So that's definitely helped. And yeah, there's still a lot of things I like. There's a lot of things outside of YouTube that I'm doing with OmniPoke that, again, I don't want to sit here and promise and announce right now, but there's very exciting things in the next 12 months for OmniPoke, external of YouTube and Twitter. So yeah, but that's what I'm doing outside of Pokemon, and that's also kind of outside of Pokemon as well, the other stuff with Omni. But yeah, hopefully junior software development will be my door to be able to make PTCGO 2. Imagine. No, probably not that. But yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. So I'm very nervous, but I'm pretty, especially as I'm moving as well. But I'm pretty excited to be able to finally get, quote unquote, what I think will be my dream job.
Cool. And I'm a bookkeeper by trade, and I possibly might be studying this year. I finished my bookkeeping qualifications, and last year I was planning to begin my accounting training. But my manager got very unwell, and then this year was basically me just like spinning plates and holding the fort for basically an entire year. And we're finally getting a manager back in January, so I'll hopefully have time to go back to what was my normal job, and probably have time to study again to become a qualified accountant. So yeah, or I'll do reduced hours and do more videos. Haven't decided yet. Both are tempting. Shay asks, "What's your favorite type of takeaway and why?" Oh, I can't believe, Shay, you've not done it on the Slowpoke well. There's free advertising on offer here. Favorite type of takeaway?
I'm a pizza man. I'm a big pizza man. I'll always be a pizza man. But I do like second is easy, like kebabs on a night out usually. That's usually the go-to.
Nice.
Just some kind of but yeah, I think it will always be pizza for me.
Yeah, I love pizza as well. Also, curry takeaways is something that has kind of got me through lockdown, not gonna lie. It's been something to look forward to on a weekend when there's nothing else to do at the moment. So curry takeaway is also
no event to go to, so get the curry house on the phone.
Yeah. So yeah. What are your favourite parts about drafting and playing Cube? How long have you got? Oh my god. Any favourite evolution lines? Just a few. So
go ahead. I'll let you take the mantle. I'll just sit here and open these champion.
Oh my days! How long have you... They're gonna regret asking this.
They are.
Favorite parts. So drafting is my favorite part of Cube for sure.
Yes,
the draft itself is incredible.
I'll get that in there before I'm motored down. I love drafting. Go.
I love just having the constant puzzle problem solving of the draft and having other friends' reactions to similar plights as they go and letting you know how much trouble they're in or if things are coming together and you start getting nervous about being someone just like insta picking or being chuffed about something, you know. So that part's definitely awesome. And I always love the creativity part and the deck building. It's one of my favorite things of Pokemon anyway. That's like kind of the reason, like half the reason why there's a channel, right? Is because we enjoy the deck building part in the first place and love looking at new sets and stuff. So it's like Cube is the complete package because you get to create a deck as you go and then build the deck itself and then actually see it in battle. So you get every stage of what Pokemon is to me all in one format, which is just incredible. So yeah, really, really awesome. And it's typically with like 6 to 8 people, so it's normally quite like an intimate experience where you're getting to know people for the first time if you've never played with them before, or just having a blast with friends anyway. So it's just awesome. And then favorite evolution lines. Empoleon is an obvious one. Definitely an obvious one. I think it's like super overpowered and pretty broken. But that's one that I'll always have because it's one of my favorite Pokemon anyway. Um, but I think some of the cards are very good. It combines like consistency, strength, sniping potential. There's so much of that line that I love. I like hit and run style stuff as well, because I think it's best utilized in these sorts of formats where gusting is limited for most decks, so you can actually see it actually has an impact. Whereas like in standard formats, it's like come back here, boy. So like throwing random prizes at people or throwing annoying walls at people actually makes sense. So I like those approaches. Um, what else do I like? I often will be drafting fire as well. I just love the draw engine of fire decks and archetypes, whether it's roast revealing or whether it's like mag cargoing, those sorts of things. I like a lot as well. So just some of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I love drafting in general. I think I actually very rarely finish playing a cube because I'm usually like advocating, guys, let's draft again. My usually my decks are like absolute trash, but I don't care because I just love like I say, I love the puzzle of trying to work out what people have and that kind of thing. So yeah, I absolutely love the drafting aspect. I don't dislike the playing aspect, but usually I'm first in line for let's do another draft. Some of the evolution lines I really like Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Telepath is nuts, obviously. But there's also some really cool Gallades that kind of go hand in hand. So
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
Guardy Gallade stuff is always amazing. Trying to think about other decks I've had in the past. I have a bit of an affinity with Machamp. I often end up drafting fighting decks. One of the best decks I've ever drafted was a Machamp, like was built around Machamp. So yeah, champs are usually pretty good. Trying to think of any others that stick out to me. I often, the other thing I seem to do far more often than I should, is every now and again, like if I see resource management Oranguru basically ever, I'll almost always pick it
It's
and
such
then
a good card though.
immediately look at every single control card I see
It's such a thing. You're so
and just
right as
wonder.
well.
And I've built like 3 or 4 absolutely terrible control decks just because I've had Guru and
Yeah.
like Bunnelby or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But they're always like you're always able to get a lot of cards like that because people generally don't pick them because it's a very neat like sort of niche archetype. And I think they're quite hard to build as well because you need the correct balance of picking ball search and stuff like that and draw supporters as well as disruption supporters, whereas a lot of other decks just want the consistency of ball search, draw supporters, that kind of thing. So I think that control decks have like another element of deck building, which is probably why I struggle building them so well because there's like an extra element of not over clunking your deck with like control pieces, but also like if you think control is like bad in standard sometimes, there's some stupid things you can do with like control um in formats like cube, which is insane. The deck
Yeah.
that we always think about is a friend of ours, Benjamin Pavey, who it was his first ever time drafting, and he made the absolute wackiest. Would you call it a control? It was a control deck,
It was just
right?
a cycle deck, I guess. It was just a loot.
Um,
It was just a loot combo thing.
but yeah, basically it was insane. It was none of us could really work out exactly what was going on until kind of after we'd played it because he'd be able to cycle random pieces and it was just the biggest brain deck we'd ever seen, especially like and like in general that would have been amazing to see. We've seen decks like that from multiple different players. Tour built something very similar when we played with him, but this was also Ben's first time ever cubing, which was like another level of just crazy how he just built this. such bizarre concept that worked so
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Just completely. And this is also someone who, like, he'd kind of switched off from the game. He'd basically played like his
He'd
last
one
season
tricked
just
one
playing.
deck all season, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He one tricked like Volcanion all season because he'd kind of just stopped playing and was just going to events kind of with his mates. So he'd also wasn't even in the mindset of playing Pokemon, if that makes sense. And yet he built this crazy deck that even like really, really top players were looking at and being like, "What? How have you developed this?" So yeah, that's one of my best cubing experiences. Was just I think watching that final between I think it was Pavian. Was it who was he
I think it was
against?
Tamao or Luke, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was crazy. That's one of my favorite cubing experiences. Was just watching him build that absolute monstrosity and then just rolling people with
Just
it.
it was just that he did like so many actions just to end his turn on like 60 damage with one triple acceleration energy that he had.
Yeah,
Absolutely incredible. Okay.
we miss him.
How would you describe an ideal format?
And then he disappeared. We haven't seen him in years.
Oh
And
yeah.
it sent him mental.
He's just put on a pedestal now for every one of us
That was
because
his last event.
that's his last
He's
moment.
never come back.
I've drawn
Um,
200 cards this game. Good night.
that's rolling out the red carpet for him as he left. Okay, ideal format. Me and Joe have very different answers for this. I really like the Lost Thunder format. There was evolutions. There was decision
Well, I mean,
making.
it's not what's your favorite; it's what
No, I
was your
know,
right.
but
Oh god, okay.
but I
You'll
was
go
gonna
in
say
that
like
direction. Yeah.
I think the reason is because there was evolutions. There was a lot of Zoroark was big, so there was a lot of decisions because Zoroark naturally promotes decisions with trade. Um, so that's when I think of an ideal format. I really liked that format. So like expanding off of that, I think more decision making in my mind can never be a bad thing because it only increases the skill required to do well in a format. Those two things are like correlate greatly. I think the more decisions there are, the higher the skill level of the format. And I think everyone would say an ideal format is more skill based than luck based. One that has engines based on tutoring rather than drawing as well is another big thing for me. I would rather, and it kind of goes hand in hand with decision making, but again, I would rather search for cards than just dump and draw and pray that, pray that I hit the cards that I want with research. So yeah, decision making and also kind of hand in hand tutoring.
Yeah, I agree that tutoring is something that's massively lacking in Pokemon for the most part, outside of Pokemon tutoring. Um, I think just for me, ideal is where there's enough variety of play styles for people. Everyone can play the game and get into the game and execute their strategy as much as possible would
Mm-hmm.
be ideal. And there's disruption and comeback cards, but they're useful in moments that aren't the first two turns of the game, so you don't just get cheesed before being able to respond to stuff. So yeah.
Mm. I actually also didn't hate the format just after Worlds last year. There was tag team
Post
was good.
rotation.
Yeah, but there was no gusting, which was great. The only gusting was Ninetales.
Mm.
There was no Great Catcher. There was no boss. So literally the only gusting was Ninetales. I'm pretty sure.
And
And I liked that.
custards.
No, Custards was
Oh,
rotated.
oh, you're right. You're right.
So yeah, I think that was also in recent memory a good format. Was one with not too much. I don't know that it's because there wasn't much gusting, but it was notable that there wasn't much gusting.
Yeah. What's in your opinion the best retro format of the TCG? That's why I was trying to push you off that.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
But I guess
Completely weird
retro is a
question.
different thing anyway. Yeah.
So I consider it's retro is a weird word because I consider retro. I don't consider like Lost Thunder retro.
No, of
I
course not.
consider that modern,
Yeah.
even though I would consider like black and white era retro at this point probably.
Yeah, sure.
But I wouldn't consider anything like past X and Y really retro. So let's say pre X and Y, I would probably Nostalgia is Heart Gold Soul Silver to NVI. I don't remember whether that was a particularly great format. I have a feeling it wasn't.
I liked it. That was
I have a feeling
that
people
was
didn't
pre
like
Next
it.
Destinies, right? That
But
was
yeah,
that was
yeah.
a
But
lot.
I really liked it because it was all single prizes. But in your uh, tick box, it was also big basics. It was single prizes but big basics.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, but there
which is
was
good.
evolution. There was a good amount of
Yeah,
evolutions
yeah.
as
There
well.
was yeah, but yeah, exactly. So that's one of my favorite formats. I don't remember whether it was particularly heralded as a good format, but I really liked it. Um, but yeah, and other than that, I've always been. No, it's probably yeah. No, it probably is that. I've always wanted to play plasma format more because I didn't really. I just one tricked a deck in that format, but from the little time that I have had in plasma format, the decks seemed pretty basic. Things like Virgin and TDK, I think at the time I thought were way more complex than looking back they actually were. So yeah, I would probably say HGS to NVI. HGSS to NVI is one of my favorite retro formats, just for nostalgia reasons.
I was going to say the plasma formats were some of my favorites because that's when I actually started like going to events. So I was just looking at the game differently and bringing different
Yeah,
decks to the table most weeks and seeing what changes I could make to adapt to the format. And it felt at that point when cups in the UK or what were they called?
cities.
Cities,
Like,
yeah, cities, and even like smaller regionals. They were like 60 to 80 people, and you basically knew like 35 to 40 of the people that were just like on the circuit that were just going to these same places. So
mhm.
you could actually metagame at that point, and that's what made it fun. I think not necessarily the
That's
cards that
something.
were around, but it just the experience of playing Pokemon with that number of people and knowing that they'd be in the same room again, like 2 weeks
Next week.
later or 3 weeks later, actually lets you react to things way better, and that was really fun.
I'm very, I'm infinitely happy about the growth of the game. But something that I don't think we will ever feel again is that feeling of metagaming for a tournament.
True.
Metagaming for a small scale
I think
tournament.
metagaming is basically impossible now.
Yeah,
Realistically, outside of knowing the top 5 decks in the game.
which sucks, and which is something that, going back to an earlier point about the single prize format, is it's the first time I've ever felt I've ever felt there was a level of metagaming was when
Mhm.
we were discussing that single prize format, which is why I'm so excited to try and push it again,
Yeah.
because I haven't felt that in years, and it's something that I didn't realize I'd missed until I felt it again. Because when there's a natural progression from tournament to tournament and it gets less and less, you notice the difference less and less. But then going into the single prize format, it was like a step
Yeah.
in terms of how much metagaming you had to do and that kind of thing. And um, yeah, metagaming I miss so much. I remember, yeah. It's you can do it. It will always be there for large scale tournaments, but in a different way. But yeah, it will never ever be there for small scale tournaments again. I don't think.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can metagame correctly, and there can be the most popular deck in the room, and it will be 20% of the meta, but you still ran into 7 randoms playing completely different decks anyway,
Mhm.
and that just didn't happen with the amount of people at the smaller scale tournaments.
Well, you could. It was at a time where you could look at results and then build around results. Whereas
Yeah.
you can't look at a League Cup and think, right, okay, this one X League Cup last week, I'll play this because there's too many League Cups winning at one time.
Yeah.
You can't, and people don't build based on people like it's kind of one of those catch-22 things where people don't build based on League Cup results, so you can't build based on League Cup results if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So you just have to take what you think is the best deck in format and kind of or the best deck. Yeah, the best deck in format is usually what you take, to be fair, and go with that. So yeah, metagaming is something that I miss massively in the game.
Mhm.
Massively.
What was the best year of Pokemon TCG? 2021, boys. I mean, I have
Uh,
no way to answer this. I don't think.
in terms of personal, it was 2019. In terms of
I think 2017 when they changed from nationals to internationals was pretty hype.
yeah, in terms of
The
yeah,
game
yeah. So
stepped up massively. I think that was really awesome.
yeah, um, I would agree. In terms of personal achievement, it was 2019. In terms of the game in general, 2016 16, 17 was really good.
Cool. Do you have any? Do you two have any partners?
I do. I don't know whether I think she was watching earlier
You
on.
frog.
Frog. Yeah, I'm with. I've been with my girlfriend Laura for nearly a year now. Who also has a Pokemon background, which is cool. Yeah, we see each other like twice a year at the moment because of Corona. But yeah, it's great. We speak still. She still is somehow putting up with me, so that's great. I'm very, very pleased.
Good for you, mate. Good for you. I currently do not have a partner. Craig asks, do you think Pokemon should have double resistance? I believe all Pokemon should be resistant to their own type. Blastoise attack over Blastoise should count for less. Thoughts?
Before we add double resistance, I'd like resistance to be relevant first.
Well, surely doubling it makes it more relevant.
Oh, I thought they meant like two resistances,
Oh.
like two types that they're resistant to. I think that's pointless.
I see. Okay.
It doesn't matter. But if it was, like if it was like a relevant number, then okay, then we can talk about expanding on that further. But I think until resistance is even a relevant mechanic, I don't think adding another type is particularly
true
relevant.
Yeah, on a similar thing, I was thinking. This just got me thinking about weakness and how sad it is that things are ×2 and how that's a win condition for some archetypes these days. But I don't think like
it doesn't matter sometimes.
No, but I would still rather see like a +50 or like a plus something rather than an X. And if resistance was a minus higher number, like if it was a +50 -50 for weakness and resistance, I feel that's much better. But there we go. Our last question on the YouTube until I do a refresh and scroll down again. Is Santa Claus real?
Of course.
Ever seen him?
I've never seen him and my dad in the same room together.
Ooh.
That's all I have. I can't say any more than that. I wouldn't want to break anyone's heart.
There is one more question.
If you filter by newest, it should.
I've found it anyway because it's the only one I haven't thumbed up.
Aha.
So I've never seen Santa Claus, but I don't know if he exists or not. Can't prove that he doesn't. So.
He was real, but then you guys stole his hat.
All right. Victory Arceus asks, what cards would you ban or unban, standard expanded, and why not unban reset stamp specifically, I guess, for expanded?
I think is Miss Maggie's banned and expanded?
Yes.
I think reset stamp is probably fine to unban then, right?
You'd think so.
Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure reset stamp is
What was the disgusting combo with stamp?
Handlock with Miss Magius or Amulet on Jirachi.
Right.
But both of those have been addressed, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure if you ban both of those, which they have, you can unban
stamp.
Reset stamp. But yeah. So I think reset stamp is probably fine to unban, but you have to bear in mind, take every expanded example with a pinch of salt from me and Joe, because I don't think me and Joe have touched that format for about 2 years. Like we keep up with it, but not to the point where
I also think
it's unban worthy.
I mean things like Wally and what are the other supporters?
Oh, Maxie's banned.
Maxie's. I think those are kind of okay now that the supporter rule change has happened. So it's not just like your opponent had no turns to play the game.
They also should have, if they were going to keep the Maxi ban, they should have unbanned Archeops, because Archeops is absolutely trash without Maxi.
Even with Ditto Prism Star, yeah.
I think it's still a stage 2.
So. Oh, okay. So it depends what era it is. I can't remember which one it was.
But yeah. I think even with Ditto Prism Star, though, it's probably fine. We have tag team, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure they can... Oh, it's a stage 1, okay. Well, either way, I'm pretty sure it would still be completely fine. But maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Um, what would I ban in standard?
Ooh, go on. Say the words. Say the letters.
Say BANADP. Um,
Ooh, the letters.
I think I'd sooner ban something like Marnie.
Oh, you have. The thing is, if we don't have Marnie, we can't draw enough cards. We actually need her as a draw supporter, but she's toxic.
Mm,
That's the problem. It's the love-hate relationship.
maybe it's just Crushing Hammer.
Perfect. You genius. You've solved it. You've actually solved it. Let me lose to Eternatus hitting 270 turn 2 in peace, please.
I want to lose.
That I would much prefer that than having Crushing Hammers aside every factor in the world. It's Eternatus' fault that Crushing Hammers got this big, because it was the only answer that many decks had to its strength initially.
Yeah. Yeah, probably Crushing Hammer.
Bravo. You've done it. Right, that's all the questions on the YouTubes. So if you guys have any questions you want to fire in, I mean, it's getting close to 12, so we'll only take a handful.
Yeah.
But yeah, start firing away, guys, and we'll try and answer quick fire. Thank you for all the comments, though. That's been great.
Yes, it's been fun. I know there's been a couple as we've gone through, but I don't want to scroll.
I'm not scrolling back. I'll get lost. Cube as the only question. I played a cube round today, Blue Cheesecake. I did a delinquent cheese win. Thank goodness for that. I was 2 prizes down, delinquented him to 0, and was able to announce attacks while he passed into me for like 4 turns.
Easy.
Magnificent.
I think.
Will we be your friends?
When was the last time? I think the last time I played a cube was that birthday weekend.
We played some online ones, right? You played. Wait, whose birthday weekend are you talking about?
But well, it was the same weekend because it was
my birthday. Was it my birthday?
Well,
whose birthday was it?
Both of our birthdays were like that.
Oh
weekend.
yeah, of course.
It was joined. I don't think I've played since then. I don't think I've opened Tabletop Sim since then. To be honest.
You can't separate us as players. Will you boys be my friends? If you want. And I said I had no win condition. My win condition is literally just aggro beatdown and hope I outrace people with my deck. I didn't realize, Jack, that the house rules of this cube is that A-specs go to the lost zone. And I took Gold Potion, and I have Trump Card and Joymaker GX to try and reuse the card like as many times as possible to heal off damage and actually be able to tank with like an Eviolighted EVGX. And then that was stripping up. It was struck away from me, so now my deck is capped at like 100 damage. And it's so Monka-esque that I'm literally just beat down right now and hoping to out-consistency people. I'm 2-1 right now.
Okay, how many rounds?
I don't know how many there are. I think there's 6. I don't know how many rounds. I need to check. But yeah.
Okay.
Was EVGX 2 busted? It's pretty strong. I don't think it's busted though. I saw that card, saw that it was passed by like 4 people, and I was like, I'm taking this. This is incredible. Like, I thought it would be more incredible than it was, but for the most part, I'm just using it for tempo to be like, I'll take back like 2 Great Balls and a supporter that I've just played. But it's such good hand advantage that you just sort of take it anyway. Yeah. Even just to use it and then just retreat and hope that they don't have Gust.
Thoughts on gusting cards? Are they bad for the game? I think. I think custom catchers were bad because they would draw RNG. I think Great Catcher was good because it was trainer based but also targeted. I think Boss is bad, but Gusting is good.
Imagine,
No,
Jack.
but gusting isn't
Imagine
bad.
having Great Catcher without Lily's Pokédoll in the format. I thought that would have been such a healthy state. Because we were literally forced into customs because of exactly Pokédoll, right?
Yeah.
I thought the game would have been super good if Great Catcher was just the card, and it's something that can push one prize Pokemon. It only became a problem when we moved on to a generation. But like a
Yeah.
generational catcher in this era for Vs, I think would be amazing once Doll rotates. I think that's like amazing.
I think it'll probably happen as well.
Because again, it's like Boss's Orders is in your hand when you don't want it because you're bricking and losing and you look at it and think, oh, boss stall, hope. Or it's just like you're already winning and then you're like, I'm
I don't.
winning
Yeah.
more because I have boss as
I don't
well.
like boss at all. Boss is like a necessary evil of just not letting things go out of control, but I don't
Yeah.
like that. That's where we're at.
Yeah. True. I don't know. I think you kind of have to have gusting effects. And I mean, if you don't have any gusting effects in the game, it can be this huge feels bad man thing. I think where people can just build strats. I don't know. Some people like that sort of thing. And I've played plenty of cubes where there's no gusting, and it can feel really good and really bad. And having just like push effects rather than gust effects, where you're just pushing the active out the way, can be pretty nice. But yeah.
Yeah. I like things like Fion. I think.
Would Ninja Boy be broken in standard? No, doesn't draw 7 or boss.
Flawed G's with no gusting farmers pog. Yeah, exactly. Gross. Flawed just dolls was another of those. Like that's. I was thinking we haven't had a wall stall in a while, but I guess Flawed just dolls was a little bit wall stally, wasn't it?
Yeah, I helped accidentally create that deck by making Floor's Buck.
Pidgeotto was just so much better though.
Will Joe win OPOP League? No.
We haven't been able to post a table for a little while because I'm still waiting on a result, unfortunately.
I think I'm in third. I'm in second. Pog.
I still have 2 results to come in, but I'm pretty sure it shouldn't change anything.
How many points above is Azul right now? Like 5?
None. Azul is below you.
What? Is Plus Power back on top?
Azul hasn't played for the last couple of weeks.
Oh, true.
Well, that was loud. Mahone is 1 point ahead of you.
Mahone. Oh, it's Mahone. Oh, Pog.
Plus Power is 2 points below you.
Oh, I'm so good at this game.
There are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 games to report.
Do those games affect your placement?
They could. I can go down.
After Flogger Skulls and Tempozard, what will Joe's next creation be? Well, you know, keep an eye out. I've made plenty of failures as well. Don't worry about that. Only remember the wins, lads. Come on.
Will you be bringing back single prize week for OPOP? I think if there's a format we'll do twice, it will probably be single prize. I'd like to do 6 different formats though, but it may not be possible. And also, formats change based on new cards that are out. So you probably won't see single prize for like a couple of months, but when we've got like 2 or 3 new sets, probably
worth
another
looking
good
at again.
time
Yeah.
to do single prize again because there will be different decks. Was Terminating the Ganadel a real deck in the Ultra Prism to Cosmic Eclipse metagame? What format did we play it in?
Yeah, it was that meta, right?
No, we played it in the meta.
Oh, it was pre-Cosmic. Yeah, it was pre-Cosmic Eclipse. It was the Unified Minds, right?
Yeah, and it was great. I will hear nothing otherwise. Nothing else.
Oh, mate, I remember going back to my hotel room and being so sad. I was actually sad. Like, I wasn't even salty. I was just sad. I was just like, oh, depressed. I was coaching at the time as well. and like going 03 drop, I think it was.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, 03 drop, and having to talk to some of my students. I mean,
how did the regional go this weekend, Joe?
oh, I honestly felt
Well,
sick and so upset.
well.
That
Do you
that's
think?
probably my lowest point in Pokemon, I think.
Do you think the year that we get events back, do you think there'll be more than usual, or do you think they'll keep it small scale because Corona, or do you think if
It all
they'll
depends on the timing. If it's like 2022, everyone's been vaccinated for a year, they'll just pump everything.
do you think they will
But
though, or do you think they'll still do like 6 regionals a year for Europe, or do you think they will go in?
oh mate, I'd love more regionals. I mean, I don't know how expensive, and I don't know the
No.
reasons why there's the amount that we have and not a similar amount to America in the first place. So I can't answer, but uh, I'd love
I would
more.
like it to be more.
I
Yeah.
I mean, we know why there's so many specials. It's because of gambling laws for different countries. So even if it's just a shed load of specials and just give us a load of promos or something, and boxes, just make the box support outweigh the price of the, or make it level the price of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
price
yeah.
support. You have ways around it.
Yeah. Not allowed to give cash, but you're allowed to have 6 cases of the new set.
Here you go. Here's a one of one promo. Take that. Pop
I'm
that
so
on wherever
excited.
you want.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Mad.
Right.
Big events.
Any other
Big
questions, boys?
I know you mentioned not doing Legacy or Expanded for now, but do you think this week's of OPAP will ever happen? Legacy, not until they change the economy of the game. TLDR, not until they change the economy of the game. Expanded,
Oh, what a great question.
probably next year if we do another league next year, which I'm hoping we will, but we need to chat about and finalize, but probably. Well, maybe next year. Again, if the economy of the game would change, that would be amazing because it would give so much accessibility to so many players. And so
What
much
do you
great
want for
content.
Christmas? I love this question. What do you want for Christmas, Jack?
Ooh, what have I asked for Christmas? The two things I can think, or the things I can think of,
This will be on YouTube, by the way. Chat.
mainly are I've asked for a new keyboard and mouse,
Ooh, lovely.
and what was the other thing that I asked for? Oh, I asked for Pikmin 3 on the Switch. That
Have you
was
played any
really
of the
hard.
previous Pikmins?
I played Pikmin 2,
Oh,
and
okay.
I played Pikmin 2, and I've watched a playthrough of Pikmin 1. Pikmin 2 was like one of my favorite games on the Wii, the remastered edition. So I'm really excited. I know nothing about Pikmin 3. I am
Just ready.
really, really excited.
That's great.
To play some Pikmin 3.
That's great. I have asked for some Bose headphones.
Nice.
Uh, I've asked for some Pokemon cards, obviously.
I also
And some clothes.
my Christmas money will also be going on a new desk for my new house as well.
Ooh, very nice.
Because I'm currently going to be using the kitchen table.
Yeah, I really want to buy some equipment for the new house, but everything takes ages to deliver or is super overpriced right now, so I'm going to wait until I'm actually in the new place.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a place I can join a draft league? Yes. If you go onto Facebook, there's a group called Legend Box. If you literally just type in Legend Box on the search and just put Legend Box Pokemon, you'll find it, and you'll be able to join the Facebook, and it's got all the links to the Discord from there.
Do you have a PO box? We do not currently have a PO box.
No.
PO box is still a thing. I don't even know
PO boxes are definitely a thing. Yes.
I haven't heard the phrase PO box in years.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to do some open mouth reaction thumbnails of can't believe this. I got sent this.
Fan sent this. Yeah.
I'd love to do those videos. I actually, on that topic, one of my old school friends, he dropped off his old Pokemon cards to me,
Ooh.
like just yesterday. And obviously they're all battered and stuff, but it was just so fun going. It's so nostalgic going through just old cards. Like he had all sorts in there. He had like old Harry Potter, old Digimon,
Nice.
old like Tops cards. It was just I loved it. I was like, yeah, mate, this is all worthless, obviously, but
I'm
but
having a great time though.
I've enjoyed my 3 hours. So
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Oh, that feeling is always great. Just random
You
sort,
just don't
random
you just
box
don't
of
get that
cards.
feeling with other stuff. And I was literally because like everything's a treat. You don't actually know what's going to pop up. It's like, ooh, random Japanese dark Charmeleon. Hello, what are you doing here? Like, yeah, I really enjoyed that. All right, I think that's. Is there anything I'm missing, or are we good?
I think
We're
we've
bang on 12.
yeah.
That'll do it then, guys. Hope you guys have a
Perfect.
great Christmas and New Year's. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
Um, hope we answered as many questions as you like. Hope it was entertaining and interesting at parts. Hoping to get back on the bandwagon of streaming and recording um, soon, I guess. I mean, at the moment, it's been a lot of OP League content and then some meta stuff, but I need to add in some deck list videos, and I haven't done a top. I'm going to try and do a top 10 in time for the tournament keys to go up for Players Cup 3 as well, so that'll be
Which is when?
upcoming. It's
When?
in middle of Jan, I think, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I read the 28th of January or something.
Okay, maybe late Jan, yeah.
Something like that. But yeah.
So yeah,
It's got three.
hopefully that'll all be interesting. All right, have a good one, chaps and chapettes.
Cheers, everyone.